Yo, check it out, check it out, check it out. This is Social Critics episode 27 with your hosts, Driss, Alpha, Curtis, Bashir, Sumie, and we got a special guest. Well, not so special.
She's special. She's a regular.
She's a regular. She's here all the time. Cassie Cass. Castifer. Cassifras.
What's going on, ladies and gents?
Well, a belated birthday shout out to Alpha.
Hey.
You
Big A
asshole.
is 26 now.
Yeah. Older than a motherfucker.
He gets more ignorant
older,
with age.
Smarter.
I don't know.
More handsome.
Do I get more ignorant with age?
Yes.
I feel like you feel the freedom to say, you have more freedom to say more shit than you feel
So
like
it can turn into ignorance.
Yeah.
You feel entitled to say some of the shit
Well, I
you
watch
do.
what I say around strangers. Let's just put it that way. Around y'all, it's
It's a fair game.
3/4 of the things I say around y'all I hope never see the day of light publicly.
Unless
I record it.
The day of
Yeah,
life.
we gotta chill on that. I gotta have a talk with Bashir on recording.
Fucking my dad over here. I have to have a talk with you. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, good look. Come on.
Look.
All right, Sumie, start us off on this epic. This sounded like it was tragic.
Yes. So Beyonce got bit. Yes, Driss bit. Bit was Driss was like in denial.
Bit.
I thought
She
it was
got
bit like you meant like somebody stole her shit.
Honest to
No,
God.
like she
Oh.
physically
I
got
never thought of
bit
that.
in the cheek.
Yeah.
And so it was at
Oh,
a
in the
party.
face. Shit.
In
Yeah.
the face, yeah. And it was at a party, and all these like celebrities, it's like a big scandal. They're accused. Apparently, Tiffany Haddish signed like an NDA. So she knows who did it. She's just not allowed to say
I
it.
think a lot of people know who did it.
She
Yeah.
did an interview about this? Or what?
They interviewed her.
Okay.
And just basically asked because she knew amongst, I think, several other celebs.
My question is, how the hell does that happen? Who the fuck gets close enough to Beyonce's face to bite her?
It was at a party.
You know what? You can hug
brave enough?
Beyonce.
Who's
I mean,
brave
really?
enough to do that though?
Is that
But why?
is that legal?
You're allowed
Is
to
it legal
hug
to
her.
bite somebody, my nigga?
No, to hug Beyonce. I feel.
Oh, I mean,
Why?
I've seen her hug people.
Why would they? Why? Like, how wouldn't it get out?
So my
Like,
coworker
Tiffany's
told
the
me,
only one who's seen
no,
it?
No. My coworker told me like any party, because it was Jay-Z's party, I think, and everyone has to sign an NDA when they walk in there. If it's Beyonce in there, you know? So mad people know who it is, I think. They just can't say it.
But there's like a long list of
And
celebrities
there's like
that
a Vegas like bet going on with all the names.
They
And
did a bracket. They did
Yeah.
a March Madness
I
bracket
think
with the celebrities
number
leading
one
up to
seed
it.
is, yeah.
Yeah,
The number,
they did.
the number one seed is
That's funny
Lena
as shit.
Dunham.
Lena Dunham.
My
Lena
question,
Dunham. She's the lead star of Girls,
Oh,
and
okay.
she's the one who has like she's always naked in every episode,
She
and
look
she's
crazy.
not a
Wait,
flattering.
naked and what?
Yo, I
in
had
Girls.
like 5 jokes that ran through my head, but I'm gonna keep it to myself.
Is there like any pictures of Beyonce ever since she got bit? Like, is there a marker?
It's not even like a mark. They didn't even say. It's not like they took a chunk out of her face.
I don't think she like.
But like, it's
she
just
bit her.
That's fucking funny.
it's just
like,
the concept
biting
of
Beyonce.
her getting bit.
It's
right.
crazy, isn't
That's
it?
funny.
If you're gonna bite her, wouldn't you want to bite her ass? If anything, like her cheek.
But you're not gonna get
Well,
close to
my
her
thing
ass.
is
Any
just like, yo,
story is
who
a
thinks
story.
to do that?
It's a story.
It was the best part about it's a celebrity, not like a crazy fan. It just
It was Lady Gaga. She did it.
Yeah, shit. That bitch looked like she'd bite you.
That's what I'm like. That's some weird shit.
That
Cassie
bitch
got
look like she
something to
go
say.
bite
Well,
you.
I'm just thinking like the whole story is that this celebrity that bit her in the cheek was like out of their mind, drunk or on drugs. So if you think about it, like how many times has Sumie tried to bite somebody's cheek?
True.
Like when you're drunk and you go in for a hug and you're like, "Oh my
Beyonce.
god, girl, I love you," and then
Yeah.
you say
And you just like,
bite.
Like a
Yo,
nibble. No,
hey,
it's a
I'm
nibble.
I'm gonna be
It's like
honest.
a-
There's some male friends that we all know that they've gotten really drunk and they've done some weird fucking shit,
True
playing with
that.
toes.
that makes sense. You ever see a baby so cute, like you just want to bite him?
Yes.
squeeze them to
I've had
death.
that before, bro.
Yo,
I used to-
my cousin has a newborn and she's like this glowing chocolate baby and I'm like, yeah, you're a cute fucking kid.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
You're
Like-
aggressive, like you're so fucking pretty.
Like,
Yes,
it's-
I've done. It's
what?
just
You
like an
wanna
urge
bite 'em,
to
bro.
bite their cheek off or something.
Is it crazy
Wow.
that guys have to do that? Guys have to be aggressive and like, because
I'm not-
it's a
I'm-
double standard, man. I can't be
I'm
like,
not.
yo,
No,
But
I
I'm
love
not.
babies.
If it's a cute
People always
kid,
look at me.
I'm like, oh, look at your little cheeks.
Sometimes
You know what I'm
Cassie
saying?
and
Like,
I
I'm doing
squeeze
that.
Frank.
I always
to
do
death.
that.
Yeah.
I like dogs more than babies.
Get out of here. Get
Whoa
out. Get
there.
out.
You
I
will
like
love
my
our
dog.
Kids
twins.
from 1 to like 2.5, and then like 12.
I like them when they're
Skip
old
out.
enough
Like
to like
four.
talk
Go
and
to
have
four.
conversations with
No,
you. You know, when
talk
they're
too
like
much.
2-3 years old. I like that though.
I like when
I
they're
like that.
toddlers, they're adorable. When they hit that like
No,
12 month stage.
No, like 2 years old.
One
they're
or
bad
two.
as fuck, and I hate them.
Oh, but they're so cute.
Nah, I
they're
hate
so
them.
cute.
My niece is so
Fucking
mean. My niece is mean to me, guys.
Well, she's
So,
just like
that's-
you when you were younger.
That's it.
so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's kind of the overall.
All right, Beyonce got her
big
ass
gossip.
bit.
My niece
Not
is
literally.
mean.
I wish literally.
That's
by
what I'm
me.
saying.
Wait, you?
By her.
Yeah.
I really say
I
yeah.
really think it's Lady Gaga. Like, who else would do it?
I don't think Jay-Z would let Lady Gaga at his party.
Well,
Yeah,
that's the best part of the story is that Beyonce ran up to Jay-Z after it happened and was like, "This bitch just bit me," and then he
Was
was the
she
one that
bleeding?
got fired up.
Yo,
I
so
don't think she was bleeding.
they
I think there was probably like a bite mark.
If I'm going to
but
bite you, I'm breaking the skin.
that's vampire shit.
I'm
No,
breaking
that
the
ass.
skin.
Don't half-ass a bite.
Yo,
I'm taking a
for real.
cheek.
Don't
If I
have
could
to
take her
bite.
cheek back home with me,
Yeah.
I'm taking that whole cheek.
the bravery you have to bite Beyonce is just wild to me.
I think if
that's
it was a
insane.
fan, he would have.
You know what? This
it would've
proves
cut
though.
through the cheek.
Beyonce can get bit.
Yeah, she's not untouchable.
She's not.
She got
Yeah, but she
touched.
didn't scar.
She got touched.
She didn't scar. She didn't
Beehive.
get scratched.
Your girl got touched.
She got touched. She's not invincible.
Don't
Don't
go
come at them?
signaling to be not here. No.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
I don't want
Beehive
any
shit.
fucking
Them
problems,
motherfuckers
bro.
will Shut us down in a quickness.
Yeah. See how fast we got this started up? This shit is over tomorrow, bro. Don't.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's switch it up. We're gonna. I guess this is kind of a taking down effect. But our main topic this week, guys, is it's a touchy subject. It's gonna be a lot of.
Literally, it's
We're
touchy.
gonna do our best not to jump over each other and get our points across. But it's abortion, and my mic is off.
Mine's off too.
Mine is off as well.
Pause.
It is not off.
No, we can hear
I
you.
can still hear you.
Are you sure?
Oh, okay. Well, whatever.
Okay.
We're still gonna go on though, even though we
Yeah.
can't hear ourselves. Like Curtis was talking
Yeah.
and saying, yeah, this is a very controversial topic. We're gonna try to tread lightly on this. I mean, and what I mean by that is we're not gonna go out and try to offend. We're gonna give our views, and we don't want people to be offended.
Well, just
When-
as we respect your views, you guys need to respect ours.
Yeah, and
as
if
well.
this is
That's-
if this is something that's too heavy for you, I mean, I understand. We want y'all to listen, of course, but there's going to be some people who are going to get turned off.
There's pretty level-headed and level emotion people at this table and within this group. So
Right. So
we should be able to handle
we've
everything.
I think everybody did a little bit of homework beforehand.
But yeah, I mean, we'll kind of jump right into it. Sorry, we're having technical difficulties for.
Yeah, sorry guys, we had a little technical difficulty. We had a situation with the mic, but like I was saying, we're touching on a touchy subject that I think deserves to be talked about, especially amongst older, younger. It's something that everybody goes through and has the potential to go through.
Yeah, it's not the easiest thing to talk about, but we're gonna get into it.
Recording.
Yeah, sorry guys about the technical difficulties, but we was getting back to the subject of abortion. It's a very touchy subject, but it applies to young. I was about to say 18 to older, but
Younger than that.
I mean, we're
Yeah,
all within the
younger than
range
that.
that it would still apply.
Yeah.
Probably 18
Yeah.
to 25, 26.
Well,
Definitely.
you guys would say the older you get, the less likely you may be to get an abortion.
I think a lot of
Having
people are
them, yeah.
smarter about it when they're older, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're just more financially settled. I
True.
think, I don't know. I don't want
and
Yeah,
more
go ahead.
careful with your penis and your vagina.
to. Sure.
But there's also not as great of a stigma on it, because the issue is, I think when you're 18, there's still people at 25 that will give their child up for adoption because they just know they're not fit. But it's not so much of a stigma for you to have a baby at 25 versus
Yeah.
17, 18, 19.
I would say the reason most people get an abortion is because they can't take care of
Afford
the
it?
child. Yeah, they can't. Or I mean, I would assume. I don't know.
I think that's probably the highest.
Yeah.
reasoning.
Yeah,
Some-
reasoning. Yeah.
Then like
I mean-
family reasoning, then like religion.
Well, I mean,
Actually,
religion.
religion doesn't want you to get abortion.
Yeah,
You
that
never
would
know.
go against it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start it off with let's start off a little backwards this time. So, what would you deem acceptable for abortion?
Well, let's give a little background story on how a child develops, first of all.
Okay.
Me personally, and actually Cassie and I talked about it, like after the second trimester, no, because let's say the first trimester, it's like the primitive stages. So you have the placenta forming, you have the amniotic fluid and everything, and you're just getting, part of the fingers and everything.
A trimester is 3 months.
Yep,
I
it's in
never
3 months.
understood the trimester. So.
3.
3. That's why
3
you're
months
you're
each.
pregnant for 9 months.
So
That's
it's
when you
3,
carry
2,
full
3.
term.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
so
it's 4
trimester.
trimesters.
And then by the second trimester is when you have like your neural tube forming. So it's like your
What is that?
Yeah, what
your
is the
central,
neural tube?
like your nervous system, your brain, like all
like
that
the
is
baby
forming.
and stuff.
Yeah,
Whoa.
and then your hands and feet and toes, all
I
that.
wanted to ask a question because you said brain activity starts in the second trimester.
Your neural tube.
Is growing.
Actually, the second month, I think.
Central nervous
Actually,
Okay, yeah, that's
second
'cause
month. I mean,
random because I've read something to where I don't know if this is accurate or not, but you could trace brain activity within the first month.
yeah. Second
okay.
month is when I meant to say month, not trim. Second month is when the neural tube is forming.
So when does the heart?
Start beating. Yeah.
That
that's
could, well, you could trace a heartbeat within 6. That happened here in Ohio, right? The heartbeat bill. Did you guys know more about
Oh,
that?
what
I
is
didn't know
that?
too much about that,
What's
but they tried to. After 6 weeks, you couldn't get an abortion because that's when you could start tracing the heartbeat of a baby.
But here's where the real issue lies: is that you could be 6 weeks pregnant and have no idea, because
Dang.
there are people that
Yeah.
find out they're pregnant at 8 weeks,
Well,
10 weeks.
Well, that's where the religious right comes in because they know that, and they were
Yeah.
just like, all right, a lot of women don't know they're pregnant. That's a month and a half.
But I always assume
Yeah.
that that happens when the girl just gets off her period and then she just gets pregnant. Is that when that happens? Because
That
a
could
whole
happen.
month goes by.
That's true, but it
And
also
then-
could be you spot when you get you can still have what you might consider to be a period when you're pregnant.
Yeah, I've heard
So
that.
you could mistake it for oh, I'm just having a really light period this month, but really you were pregnant the whole time. So then now you're at 2 months because you're waiting until the next one, and then when you don't get your next one, you're probably going to wait 1 to 2 weeks after that to wait for it to come. You know what I mean? Before you take a test, or unless you feel pregnant, because some people do.
Yeah.
A lot of women too who are on birth control or using contraceptives don't track their period because it's just so regular. So when you're having a kid, okay, I'm ovulating this time, and there's those times where they say oh, you get you can become pregnant most after a period or something, they say, or before a period. There's theories like that, but at the end of the day, it's just when your body's ovulating. And there's
That's
people that don't
crazy.
track
Technically,
it.
you're only fertile 2 days out of every month.
Yeah, that's what.
So
I've
the
read.
likelihood of people getting pregnant is
Oh, so you got to
very-
hit that
Damn.
bullseye within that.
right.
point.
But if you don't
but people
track
are hitting
it-
bullseyes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Something's in the
Accidentally
water.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually accidentally, unless you're planning for it. But
Which is rare.
yeah.
Well,
Especially
What is
at
rare?
our age.
Plan babies?
At our age, that's
If you're
rare.
married,
What are y'all
yeah.
talking about?
At our age,
If you're married, yeah, you
if
can
you're
plan for a kid.
well,
I mean, I'm 26 now, so
Most
everything's
people
up-
that get married our age plan for a kid the year right after.
A lot of people get married because they get kids. Mm-hmm.
He said, why you saying
Now,
to you?
that's the side that I'm on. I feel like people get married because they have kids,
Yeah.
or they get about to have a kid.
That's old fashioned though, ain't it? When you say that's
I'm not mad at
old-fashioned?
that.
Wedlock.
Yeah, that's
many
like an
kids?
old.
I was a bastard child.
A lot of
He
kids.
said,
A lot of kids.
What is it
quote,
when you
unquote, are
don't
that.
get married?
I guess
Bastard.
I'm not
Just
mad at that
baby
because I
mama.
don't. If you don't rock with that person enough to get married to him, and you just had a kid, I wouldn't get married to him.
I was gonna say I don't understand the whole getting married because of a kid.
Yeah,
I don't get it. I mean, I guess people have sometimes they do it just to save face. Okay, well, we were gonna get married even though you weren't. But I don't understand it.
that's setting up
There's also financial responsibilities, though. When you get married, you can have a lot more
Oh, yes.
assistance together than you could apart.
That's facts.
And
Oh,
I feel like I
So-
feel like you're already setting up the lie for the kid. All right, you had the kid, you get married, but then when you tell him oh, have a kid when you're married, and then when they ask oh yeah, but y'all only had me,
I don't
and then
think.
got married.
I don't think we should force people to get married if, because that can
We
make,
never force
Well,
them.
no, I'm saying that can make the situation worse for the child.
It's
Like
just
you guys are
social
in a
pressure.
yeah, you
said-
guys are in a marriage that you don't really want to be in, but you're in it for the kid. That
Yeah.
you're not helping the kid out ultimately.
Well, that's what I think you both were saying the same thing. That's what Curtis was saying.
Oh, yeah,
you
yeah,
don't.
social pressure.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
And it
the
comes from
societal values hold that you should be married.
Well,
when
society,
you have kids, but-
like to tie it back into abortion, society, I don't know what the numbers exactly are. I think people are 50-50 on. Well, I know 50% of women are pro-life and then 50% are pro-choice.
So how do you feel about pro-life then?
If you, so I'll say this: at 16, I would have. If you put a gun to my head, I would have said I was pro-life. At
Yeah.
22, if you put a gun to my head, I probably would have said I was pro-choice. Now I'm kind of look, I understand both sides. I will say you can make more arguments for the pro-life side than you can for the pro-choice side.
It just comes with more experience.
I think it's just where your ethics or your
And where-
morals lie.
I think
each like every period of your life though, because that's going to change.
Sure.
You know what
Yeah.
I think though? I honest to God just think if that's the case, then why not just make it pro-choice? And the reason why I say that is because this country is also based off of the freedom of choices. So why don't you just leave? Why don't you? I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's a democracy,
I
but I'm
understand
saying like,
that.
why not just leave that in the hands of that person? So it's like, if you really feel like you should be against abortions, then don't get an abortion. If you get pregnant,
Well, so I'll say this. I personally think it should be pro-choice. No one should ever fucking tell me what to do with my body. But I do believe that no, you should not be having an abortion after the second trimester, or like there should be a limit to it.
Okay.
You know you're pregnant after some time.
Can I ask a
not-
question? Because you guys said kind of piggyback off on one another, and I ultimately I don't. When it comes to this subject, I'm kind of like I just veer back because I don't think I have too much of a say on it. But there is a question that I think has to be asked because you guys are saying it's pro-choice, it's the woman's right to choose what she wants to do, but you're not really expounding upon it. So when you say choose, it's her right to choose. It's her right to choose what?
I think it's her. I think what is it in Ohio? After 21 weeks, you can't get an abortion.
Did the 6 weeks thing pass or no?
I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know, but I think generally it's after 21.
Okay.
After the 21st week, I think you can't get an abortion. And there's obviously like the scientific evidence behind it, why they say you can't basically, kill a fetus or whatever. And I think, yes, that should be definitely a thing. Like if you decided to pull out of a pregnancy last minute, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
okay, that's
But it is your body. I mean, you have the decision and the choice. I don't know exactly, like, I guess what are you asking? Why
here's-
a woman
here's-
should
here's
have right
how-
to her
Can I jump
body?
in this? Can I jump in this real quick?
Well, let me ask well, actually, say what you have to say.
I'm gonna
'cause
answer your question.
Well, I want to expound on the question.
Or expand on it.
Okay, so when I say you guys are saying it's the woman's choice to do what she wants with her body, I agree with that pretty much all the way across the board. Yeah. Like if she wants to get tatted from head to toe, cool. If you want to snort all the drugs you want, cool. Have sex with a bunch of people, cool. That is your body and that's your choice. You can do what you want with it. But when you're talking about this is the question I'm asking. Does a woman's right to eradicate a potential life supersede that potential life's ability to manifest into a baby?
Because
I think that's the question, I think.
And on top of, I like that, but I like to tie it in with the male too. Like, what if he wants the baby also?
The male has no say.
yeah, Mel Loki.
Guys, that's what I'm coming off of. Women, it's women's choice. I'm pro-choice.
I don't find that fair, bro.
I
mean,
do.
I understand
Unless-
that
No,
it's a
I
woman's
actually
choice.
agree. I
No, unless obviously the man should have a voice in it, and it should be the woman's choice to hear that. And
Yeah, it's
whatnot.
ultimately her decision.
It's
I
her
think.
decision.
Ultimately her
But
decision.
she has. I feel like she should kind of
has
go to the
yeah.
guy.
Yeah, but unless she's like mentally unstable or something like that, then I don't think she should have that choice at all. But
But if she's mentally unstable, she probably shouldn't carry a child.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But,
I mean,
whoa.
I'm
Damn.
just
want to get
saying.
into
So
that.
now I
bro.
got. Now I have more.
But I'm pro-choice because at the
So-
end of the day, we have a bunch of men telling what women can do with their
Agreed.
bodies, and that doesn't make any sense at all, dog.
I don't
I
think.
mean, but we're not getting politically correct.
I don't think you guys are like fully comprehending my question.
I get what you're saying. No, but I was just throwing my
because
I'm throwing my thought out there. All right. You said about the kid growing up or the fetus turning into a baby.
Yeah, does her right to eradicate that child? Because that's what it is. When you're saying pro-choice,
So you're
it's my
saying
choice.
why do we have the right to stop a life?
No, it's not even. It's more of it does your. I'm not saying what's right or what's wrong. It's more where your morals lie.
Mm-hmm.
Is your right to eradicate a child? Does that supersede that child manifesting into an actual human baby?
Yes.
But that
Okay,
goes
you say
back-
yes,
I say yeah.
Pro-choice.
and that's fine. Yeah, and that's
I
and that's,
say
I
yes.
think so.
it's
yes.
not a matter of what. Like
No.
I'm asking the question.
But
I
then
say
that
yes.
ties into that moral value of like, okay, when is it? All right, does it start at cells? Does it start at the first nervous system coming into play?
Yeah,
the first
depends on
heartbeat?
I mean,
Yes,
Plan
the first-
B. If you think about it, Plan B is a form
Of abortion.
abortion.
Yeah.
Yes,
You
it
know,
is.
it's
Yeah.
basically birth control jacked up in a pill for a
I
month.
asked my coworker that. I was like, are you for abortion or not? She was like, no, I'm pro-life. And then I was like, how about Plan B? She goes, yeah, I'm with that.
She
So
doesn't know
that's what
she's
I'm
Yeah,
saying.
I was
But
like,
a lot
alright.
of guys would argue, well, that's not fair. I think a girl, like, what if I want the kid? But those are the same men that are like, yeah, I'll get you Plan B. So what
Agreed.
sense does that make? Because you can't be
You got to be consistent,
right. You can't
Yeah.
be against abortion, but then allow whoever you slept with that
So,
night taking Plan B.
Everybody here, I'm assuming, would be pro-choice. I'm more of the. I'm not even going to say I'm either. I'm literally. This is a subject where I'm like, yeah, I'm staying the fuck.
I
up.
am indifferent. You're right because I
I'm
don't have
more
a
of that.
choice.
I'm
But
more of
people
that.
say like pro-choice and all that, but then it's like, do you believe in the death penalty?
That's a phenomenal point.
I don't believe in a death penalty.
Okay, so that you're contradicting yourself.
See,
No, but at the same time, it's different.
Why?
Hold on. Why are we contradicting ourselves?
That's just, how does that contradict?
Well, because you're saying, yeah, go ahead, Curtis. You explain it because I know. I understand what you're saying.
if you're saying pro-choice, far as like she should be able to do whatever with her body when the baby is
Can we
forming.
throw out the pro-choice thing? The eradication of a potential life. Let's say that.
Okay.
Because I think
that's a
Yeah.
mouthful.
So you want to say it's the longer
Okay, well,
one?
let's just say if you're
Okay.
let's just say if you're pro-life
I'll
and
tell
you
you
say
what.
you're completely against that. No, you're not allowed to do it. You got to have that baby. Now, if that prisoner who might have killed a guy and he's on death penalty, he just got the death penalty. Should he have that?
You know what?
I think he should have the choice if he wants to do it or not.
I'm gonna say this. I take it back. I'm actually for the death penalty. I don't know why I said.
You said you were for death penalty.
Is that what I said?
Yeah, you did.
Okay, then good. All right, good. For some reason, I thought I said I wasn't.
All right, why?
Why? Because
Answer this question.
there's a lot of reasons why.
I think it's an eye for an eye. That's how I'm like caveman with that. If you rob me and you get robbed, you deserve it.
I don't think they're supposed
That
to
doesn't
get a
give
choice.
you the right to do the
Cassie, were
robbing.
you about to say
That's what
something?
I'm
You
saying.
are
Absolutely right.
I think you were about to expound on something.
Well, I just think that like the death penalty comes from somebody that has lived life and made the choices for themselves, right? And like they made, like maybe they were a perfectly healthy human living a perfectly normal life, or maybe it was a fucked up life, we don't know, and they made that choice to kill somebody or to rape somebody, and that's really fucked up. But like a fetus, like my thing is like if there's a baby that's gonna be born that has the potential to die because of
Circumstances.
certain circumstances genetically, then why is that not?
I feel
You know
like
what I mean?
that's where it gets gray to me because then you're going by experiences. So, all right, these two of the poor, some of the poorest people in the world, they end up having a baby, knowing that they can't take care of it, and that baby situation is going to be hell if it's born. So they take it out just to get away from that. Or you can say the guy, like you said, the fucked up person who just went through hell all his life, and he had no other choice but to get in a situation that caused him to kill somebody or blah blah blah.
Well, then
No, I don't.
What?
No.
What?
I don't think you can compare these two.
Yeah,
I don't
Don't
think so
compare
either.
these
They're
two.
not really
I'm with what
compared to
Cassie's
death
saying.
penalty.
All right, the people that usually get death
I think you
penalties,
can. I'm actually.
I mean,
with
you
Curtis.
can compare. I get it, but I don't like this comparison because, as what Cassie said, this person
This stuff
lived.
we're not supposed to like it.
I know, but this person, this person lived their life. They made this choice consciously.
They're
Okay.
consciously
And-
making
yeah,
that decision.
okay.
So
but-
is the people having the sex who created the baby.
But
Pers-
the baby is not conscious.
The
I'm
baby
sorry.
is
like-
not consciously saying, I want the
I
death
think it's
penalty.
the
You're
baby.
saying the
Like, it comes
person
down
is
to the-
saying.
Okay.
So y'all saying it's consciousness then?
I say that. Listen, now
So
we're-
it's not experience, it's consciousness.
But the point you're making is that the person on death row should have
Choice
the
to be-
choice whether they
dead or
want to
not.
die or not die. The baby doesn't have a choice.
Yeah, the baby doesn't have a
So
choice.
you're what you guys are saying is the baby doesn't have a choice, which is kind of the pro-life argument.
Yeah, like
Like,
you telling her to have
You're
it.
not giving that. It's the question I asked. You're not letting that potential life.
But that's the
manifest
difference,
into
though.
a
It's a
bit.
potential.
Oh,
it's
okay.
not
It's
a
a
life.
potential life.
Well,
It's
someone
not
said-
a,
and,
okay,
I, and I think about the abortion is a personal thing. Now you're talking about death penalty. You're bringing other people into this. That would want the death penalty,
I don't-
maybe, or
I don't actually know what all falls around the death.
But
I
what
don't
you're
think it's just
bringing in
murder. It could be other things.
outsiders creating a stranger's fate. This
And
is
it's
the parents creating their child's
own fate.
Yeah.
Is it? Well,
Because no matter what, a pregnancy is going
You
to.
can't compare a murderer to. I understand a lot of people do, and that is a really big hot topic. But I'm saying somebody who's inflicted actual pain and harm, and the world, meaning strangers who might have not even been affected by it, are determining this person's death. But you're comparing that to parents. I understand if a woman and I think a husband or a significant other should have some say in it. I think ultimately it's just going to come down to the woman. I'm sorry, it's in us. That's just the reality of it. Just like the reality is abortion is taking a life. But what I'm saying is it's the idea of That's their child. That's their being. It's not a court deciding.
Yep.
That's unfortunately what it's happening. And you can't put a child's life that hasn't been brought into this world into the hands of court order versus a criminal who has taken lives. And we're about to take his.
But, I mean, let me get a quick
sure.
disclaimer.
Okay.
I'm not saying firm on like I've thought about this.
since
I'm going through this in my head as we speak.
Before
This is
Bashir
all,
goes,
like,
I want to give Bashir his
jump
Tim's.
on it.
No. I just want to say I'm going to try to make I'm not pro-life. I'm going to try to make that argument because
Yeah,
I
I'm with you too.
want there
I'm
to at
with you
least be
too.
a discussion here.
Yeah.
I think we're all kind of on the same page. Me, I'm just out of it, but y'all are kind of on the same page. So I want Bashir to go ahead. And
Oh
then
yeah, I was gonna go off of what Sumie said when she threw out the word effect. I mean, in an abortion, who's mainly getting affected? The woman. That's it. I mean, the guy, yes, the husband, but it's a woman's choice, and that's about it in the family. It's the guy that made it, and the woman's carrying. Correct or no? As for a baby,
for the baby's.
I mean,
the
just
one
having
getting-
like, and the baby. Okay, and the baby's in it too. Now, this death penalty, this guy killed or did something that put him in jail, where he had to affect someone else.
I like the way Sumie said it, far as like strangers impeding. Making a choice
Yeah, you
of
got the
somebody
government.
else's life. But I mean, I'm thinking far as like, okay, parents are parents. You can say this is my mom, this is my dad, this is my uncle. People are people. You create another person, it's just another person.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter parent, aunt, uncle, grandma. So it's not about a stranger. It's somebody else's consciousness weighing on somebody else's body. Like, okay, we all think this should happen to you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of still the same thing to me.
okay.
To parents,
You think the parents are the government or are the courts
yeah, for their baby.
for their baby?
Sure.
I mean,
As a
but
death
you can,
penalty.
when people say their baby, they make it seem like it's mine. No,
They make it
because
sound-
if you fuck up, Children's Services has the right on paper to come and take that child from you.
Yeah.
That's true. Okay, so to piggy kind of off of what Curtis is saying, because you guys are saying, well, it's a potential life. There are some people who believe that the moment the sperm hits the egg, that's a life. And there's actually medical
It's so
doctors.
gray.
They're split on it.
Yeah.
But there are medical doctors who would say, yeah, the moment the sperm hits the egg, that's a child. When you're bringing up the fact that the brain, you can trace brain activity within 3 weeks, you can trace a heartbeat within 6 weeks. Women don't even know they're pregnant. So now you're saying, okay, well, this person is starting to develop human traits. We're all for late term abortions. We're not with. I don't think anyone here is necessarily with that.
No.
No, that's crazy.
The argument
Late
is
term
because
abortion.
me and Kurt, we talked about this
I got a question.
about personal accountability.
Yeah.
Like if you had unprotected sex, now we can get into whether rape and incest, which
Yeah,
is like
I like-
1%. That's 1% of abortions, though. That's like an outlier. But when you're talking about personal responsibility, you have unprotected sex, you can have a child.
Yeah.
So I would rather you take the parameter, so we don't even have to talk about this.
Okay, but how does that weigh far as like maturity?
Sure, 16-year-olds aren't personally accountable.
Yeah.
But at 16, you knew going inside having
But you're
unprotected.
not thinking about that.
No, you're
No,
not.
sure, you're not.
So
But
how would you wait? What? What's
if
your
I
thoughts on
got a
that?
girl
I don't
pregnant
know.
at 16, I don't know how
This
to
just
act.
popped in my head.
Like, how would you get condoms when you're 16 if like you're not?
I mean, you can get condoms at
Yeah,
16.
they-
You can pay for it.
school.
Or
Yeah.
but I know people that have been fucking on 15 or
But
they had a kid at 15.
You know what here's the thing what I don't find, this is what I find the most hypocritical. For someone at 16 to say, oh, I'm for abortions, I'm pro-choice, and then at 25 to be like, oh no, I'm pro-life. Why do you get to legally change your mindset at a different age when murder is murder in your eyes? Because there are plenty of people who say, I'm telling you, at 16 will say, in college, or let's even say college. I've heard people in college be like, oh my God, yeah, like I definitely get an abortion now. But then when they're at this age and married, they'd be like, oh my God, no, I'm so against
That's
abortions.
acceptable to me, though.
The thing
That
is,
is.
You
a lot
change your
But you
more.
mind.
can't
That's what
just
I'm saying.
change. You can
Well,
change
just say
your
you're-
mind,
okay.
but then they go so against it to where no, abortion should be
I
illegal.
agree.
And it's like, why should the law change based on your age as far as when you get to take a life away?
I'll
Yeah,
say
I'm with
this.
you.
I'm not to speak for women. I've just, from what I've heard, when you are pregnant, a lot of times this is why people say a woman getting an abortion is one of the more difficult decisions you'd have to make.
Yep.
A lot of women don't even end up going through with it. They end up having the kid
Yeah.
because they can't even fathom, you know what I'm saying, getting
You have
terminating.
You have to,
yeah.
but when you give I actually think that's what I was just double checking is I think when you do schedule an appointment or something for abortion, like I think you have to have
Counseling.
24 hours outside of it. Yeah. You have to have 24 hours or something to make the decision.
Yeah,
so they give you the facts
counseling,
and
too.
there's some time frame.
Yeah, earlier. Oh, sorry, guys. Go
No,
ahead.
I was just going to say when you go in for the appointment, they give you all of the information. They let you know what's going to happen. And then you have to come back within
A
1
week.
to 2 days later
Oh, what?
before they actually
That's-
give you
you
the
know,
pill or do the procedure.
What are the long-term effects of abortion? Like,
I mean, I feel you, but just on that point, they do that for like that's like their clause just to
HIPAA?
say that you're sane.
Yeah.
So if they tell you, all right, go check all this out first, and then come back to us, then because they can do it right then and there.
They don't want to get
but they
sued for,
want
like-
they don't want to just against the
Well,
law.
yeah, because if someone that is a really tough decision for a woman to have, and you
Yeah.
can only imagine going in, the day of, and your mindset like I'm having an abortion, no way I can have a
Yeah,
fucking
that's what I
kid.
was reading on.
But
like,
then you
that's-
get the information, and before it even sinks in, then you have the abortion. You're like, fuck.
Yeah, but the parents.
I shouldn't have
parents-
done that.
Parents were suing. I was looking. Parents were suing like
Planned
doctors
Parenthood.
and stuff. Yeah, like 16-year-old.
We should
or
talk
whatever,
about Planned
which is-
Parenthood a little bit later too.
Yeah.
Well, that would just come in, and then they just, okay, yeah, we can set that abortion up for you, right? Boom, boom. Parents would be like, motherfucker, you ain't getting in contact with me. Blah,
No,
blah.
I mean, by law, you have
Yeah.
to, if you're under 18, you have to have
Then
some
your-
sort of legal guardian or
your
parent
parents
to
should
be
have
there.
a say.
no, and that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. No, I'm saying, far as they have to make sure that you're sane.
Yeah.
That part. I mean, you're over 18 too. You can be 50 years old or 40. I don't
Yeah.
wanna go too high, but
Well,
35.
to that point, like if the girl is under 18, yeah, your parents should be involved in that because I don't
Yeah.
want to hear that my choice, my body shit. If that's you're 16 and I know you can't take care of that kid, I'm taking care of that kid.
Yeah.
So it's like,
but
It's my choice.
yeah, at that point, no, seriously.
what are the long-term effects? Of abortion?
Sometimes women can't ever get pregnant from abortion after having
It destroys
after
the
aborting a
cervix.
child. Yeah.
Destroys
And I mean,
it.
it leaves a lot of long-term effect. And that's one of the reasons actually some people don't go through it. I mean, obviously the morality kicks in and they're like, you know what, I can do it. But a lot of it is my fear of never
That's
being
the
able to
number
have
one
a child.
reason why I feel like abortion should be legal. Like Roe v. Wade should remain legal, not necessarily because I'm pro-choice, but I don't want some 16-year-old kid who's saying, all right, this is illegal. I'm going to go to some rogue doctor or even worse, take matters into her own hand.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that's
give
the whole...
give them a
I'd rather,
good option.
like, even regardless how you feel, I'd rather that kid be safe in doing that
Yeah.
than...
Yeah, we
you,
do.
you know how they show them movies or show they doing it with like a coat hanger and shit.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Which all
Christ.
that is absolutely fake. You can't do that.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. That's not going to...
You can't.
Yeah.
Like people say you can drink your baby away, you
No.
can fall down the stairs, you can punch your stomach, you
Nope.
can use a coat hanger. That shit doesn't work. But
Dude,
what
we have
does
a
suck
friend who thought-
is that if for whatever reason your baby goes to term, you've probably fucked your child up at that point. You know, if
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
drinking your baby away in the first trimester and then you end up having the baby,
You
like
just fuck the baby's
I've-
life.
there's
I've
chances
yeah.
that it's going to be.
I've recently
you
learned
know,
that they get their nutrients from like it's sometimes like they say like 80% of what you eat doesn't necessarily go to the baby. They get most of their nutrients from your bones.
mhm.
So I'm like, oh, that's kind of crazy.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Dang.
Oh, I didn't know
I
that.
mean, they still end up with bad genes 'cause if you're eating like shit, but like they still like they get what they need to survive from your what's the shit inside the marrow,
Bone
and all that
yeah,
shit.
bone marrow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I
I'm
didn't
like,
know
oh,
that.
that's dope.
Sumi, you were
That's
talking
about
about what the bill. You know they're introducing or trying to introduce a new bill to ban all abortions in Ohio. And I just saw this today. Like
That's gonna be bad.
we planned on talking about this like a week ago, right? And I just saw this like today at work where he said a bill has been introduced in the Ohio State House to ban all abortions. Unlike previous legislations on abortions, House Bill 565 would consider an unborn human a person. The bill will also make no exceptions for rape or incest.
That's,
Wow.
yeah, that's
No.
wild.
That's-
wild.
Now there's the pro-life argument to where
Although that's very rare,
it's 1% of all abortions.
but still,
Yeah.
1%
the
of how
person
many
who actually
abortions?
gets that,
The reason-
oh man,
And
that's hell.
because somebody who would say, "Hey, I'm pro-life no matter what," because I believe that's a child, even if if it occurred due to rape, which is horrible for the mother,
Yeah,
it's still a child. But my thing is like that mother has to look that kid every day and know that that child is a result of the most horrific, heinous act that ever happened to her.
Ever.
Yeah.
That's
So
fucked
I
up.
don't know. I can't rock with that.
and that
personally.
reminder
Every
and
day.
and you got to
That's what
think about how like torturing that would be. Like you're the nurturing inside of a woman wants to take care and dies to take care of this baby, but
That's
that
going to be
memory
a detachment issue, I would think.
of the
There are
baby?
some mothers that just don't become attached to their children, and I feel like in that case, that would happen frequently.
Yeah, they just see it as a
because
person.
the whole time that it's the 9 months that the baby's in you, like you're bonding, even though it's not.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like
of
you're
course.
bonding with it, but you are so resentful of that baby the whole time that even when and I'm not saying every case, you never know. Like someone might get past it. Someone might it might be within them to be a mother, regardless of circumstance, but.
Yo, this
Some
sounds-
people may just 9 months of resentment and then the baby's going to come out. Then you're setting yourself up for like, maybe the mom's not all the way right. And
What's
then
that?
you got those terrible situations where moms kill their babies or,
Yeah,
do
what's
stuff
that-
dumb
What's that
shit.
disease where they feel like they're not the mother?
Well, a lot of times it's postpartum
postpartum.
They be
depression.
like, that's not my baby.
Yeah, but that happens
They're like,
with
"Bitch, you
saying
just-"
it happens like
Literally.
with anybody. A lot of
that
women
happens often.
Chrissy
Yeah.
Teigen, actually, she came out with
Really?
a tell-all about how like she was so detached from her kid right after she had it. And it's because your hormones are so crazy. I don't think anyone understands the true change of hormones until you've even simply been on birth control.
I do.
Get the fuck out
Of
of
course, Alpha does.
But yeah, no, women, you can become detached. I would say I 100% agree.
would be
I mean,
so
I'm
crazy.
telling you straight up, I'm pro-choice. I think, unfortunately, the other argument people make to that is, I don't care how insane of a mother you are, you can always put your child up for adoption, and they're disregarding what that child already is predisposed to.
So I'm sorry.
They're making money off a child sometimes.
So
Right.
let's get into
You know what I mean?
adoption.
Well,
then.
You know,
Let's
that's
get into
that's my
adoption.
thing. Like, because you said that I want you to recite that again because I don't want to misconstrue what you just said.
Well, I'm saying the argument, like what Cassie said, I agree with Cassie. Like that mother is just not fit to
Yeah,
even,
she's not.
even
Yeah.
in a health way carry a child to full term. But some people would use the argument, well, even though you don't feel fit to be a mother, why can't you have the child and put it up for adoption?
Well, why
Which I
can't you?
understand. But there are other factors to it. You're still putting this child in danger when you're not caring and actually nurturing for the
while
child.
you're pregnant.
You're
Okay.
predisposing this child to so
Yeah.
many health defects. And honestly, everyone calls it murder, but like, I'm sorry, he has a brain and a heartbeat doesn't mean it's conscious or self-aware. That's not a person. It's in the works of becoming a person, but you can't tell me that it is a full person when it doesn't have consciousness. And I'm not talking about like somebody who's 25 and isn't fully there. No, I'm talking about somebody who cannot physically be conscious.
Okay, so I'm gonna make the pro-life argument again. Like I have
devil's advocate. I like it.
Well,
I like
no,
it.
I mean, there's no one here who's
You
gonna
have to do
who
it.
else
Right,
will
yeah.
do it, and I don't believe
Someone's
this.
going to ask us.
I don't
so.
believe this necessarily, but one would argue again. It goes back to that question. There's not only they're still manifesting into a potential life, and you have the right to manifest into one, and you have the right to grow and become a productive member of society. Why shouldn't that kid have that same right?
Because it's not a
I
kid.
agree.
It's the lock.
So, well,
It's
why
not a
shouldn't that
kid.
potential
I
life?
kinda agree with that.
At one
But
point, you were a potential life,
circumstance.
and you were able to manifest into a baby.
Circumstances.
I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm just
Right.
saying.
I know,
that's
but
the-
I would
that's the
say
question.
circumstances. Like, if you know this kid is not going to get the same life you had growing up, it's going to be a lot worse. Then
What if your life was already shitty?
Then why would you want to? It's even worse.
I mean, they
Made
still
it
that
worse.
doesn't stop people.
Yeah.
They can be in the shittiest,
Stop people
most
from what?
ruddiest-
Stop people from
From
what?
having
Rather than
sex.
Yeah.
From
I'm
having
protected.
sex.
If you're in a
Just
if you're in a shit situation, you're growing up in a shitty. You have
most likely that's what you're going to because
Yeah.
that's the only pleasure that you got.
Yeah, so
in
you're
life.
Yeah, but we
having a
live in we live in a time that you gave us a choice.
Yeah.
They gave us a choice. They gave us even a pill to have a choice. Now we skipped the pill. Now we wait a couple weeks. Now we're pregnant.
It goes back
You
to
still
the
gave us a
accountability.
choice, though.
Yeah,
goes
I
back
think
to
that's what
accountability.
Curtis is trying to say. Like, look, and I'm because I'm real big on personal accountability.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to apply it to this, yeah, like no, but it is. You make the actions that you make in life. They have consequences.
Okay, that's
I
that's
agree,
cool.
but I feel like taking accountability, like you can say, like I fucked up, I had
Yes.
unprotected sex, and I got pregnant. But taking accountability for if I terminate this now while it's safe to do so for myself and the baby,
Sure.
then now you're not bringing a child into the world that's going to have potential health concerns, potential life concerns, that's going to live a life in the system, that's going to live a life on the streets, that's going to suffer immensely because you're going to bring them into a life that you weren't prepared for them to be in. And I get that it's your fault. At the end of the day, it's the man and the woman who had sex and conceived a child, but you can also take accountability
How
and
many-
say,
It can go wrong too. You can start out good and go bad.
How many
that's
second
true, but
but-
that's
How many second chances have you had
What
in
do you
your
mean?
life? Just in general,
A lot.
a lot, right?
Yeah.
And now you're telling this person, stop what you're doing. Whatever your life is going, what path you're going, you don't get a second chance. You fucked up once, and that's it. I don't care what you do. You have a choice. You can go to that doctor and get it, but you're not allowed.
Well, I mean, you could
Because
also
that
say
baby
this.
is a human.
Just because you have a child doesn't mean your life is completely ruined.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
But you
women
can't say that you can only say that from your perspective.
It's always the
never had
person.
one.
It's always
Because it might ruin somebody's
But
life.
are you taking? I'm sorry. Are you taking 9 months off to have a child, or is the woman? Because it can. And I'm not saying it would ruin my life. I'm not saying personally. I'm just saying if I was at a certain age and I had an abortion, it could potentially ruin my. Or if I didn't have an abortion, it could ruin my
You
career.
could be in the. You could
So,
be in
yes.
an image you can be like an image job to
Yeah.
where your image is your
so you
job.
can't say it can't ruin someone's
No,
life,
I'm not saying.
especially
I'm
a
not
woman.
saying, I'm not saying it's not going to.
Yeah.
I'm saying what I meant by that is, yes, that child's not going to ruin their life in the sense that they could still figure out a way to provide for them.
Yeah.
Grind. Like I know,
Put a fire.
I know
under
girls who.
your ass.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I meant by that. I'm sorry if that didn't come through.
Yeah.
But because I know women personally who had a kid.
And-
all right, but they're grinding and they're working and
their life's better.
They've gotten to the point where they provide for that child. It can't put a fire.
That was
under
their
us.
choice to keep the child.
that
Sure,
was their
sure.
choice.
That was my like revelation at like 24, 25. Like I've noticed, well, I say to like 25, 26, but I've noticed like that's what kids do. Like either, I mean, and it amplifies your personal accountability. So if you're a lazy person, it's just going to make you even lazier.
Yeah.
Or either the baby's going to put a fire under your ass or it's going to make you stuck.
Yeah.
So that's why people feel trapped. That's why they call it trapped. Like, oh, she trapped me. Like, no, nigga.
She didn't trap you. Had
Put your dick in
consensual.
her.
You
think,
put your dick in
Hey,
her.
do you think the
Like,
government is setting us up to get abortions though?
Well, can I?
If you want to talk about birth
Yeah,
control,
that's what I was trying to
That's a
say.
whole
That's what I was trying to talk about.
This is what I wanted to talk about. Planned Parenthood, the original.
Okay, yeah, jump on it.
So the person who created Planned Parenthood, her name was Margaret Sager, I believe is her last name.
Okay.
All right, so she was a eugenicist, and there's a theory on the conservative side that she's somebody who purposely wanted to plan a bunch of Planned Parenthoods in the black community to wipe out black babies.
Wow.
So because she believed that
Yeah.
they're
That's how
saying
I can see it.
this is what the people on the right say. They say that she believed that blacks were inferior and she was a huge eugenicist. Now, it is true she was a eugenicist, but I also found research or did a little research, and she worked with W.E.B. Du Bois and the NAACP.
Really?
Yeah, they
Du
well,
Bois?
yeah. Well, yeah. He wanted to figure out a way to make sure that black people were getting the proper contraceptives,
Oh, okay.
Okay.
and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's.
say.
But on the right, they always they say that she was a eugenicist, and there was a quote that she had. I can't think of it off the top of my head, to where it was taken out of context, and it did kind of say that, oh, I believe we need to make sure that we limit the population or the amount of black people.
That was the same time around like I always fuck up that
20s.
word.
Well,
Tuskegee experiments. When they was carrying those out, that was around the same time.
Yeah, so like that's why there's a little bit of controversy, excuse me, I can't talk,
Yeah.
when it comes to Planned Parenthood. I think ultimately it's good. Women who can't afford to go to a doctor can go to Planned Parenthood, get mammograms, get tested and whatnot. So I think there's a lot more benefits. People always bring up abortion when it comes to Planned Parenthood. That's like 1% of what they do. Everything else is just
A clinic.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it all starts, to me, all that shit starts in your personal accountability. It starts in your fucking house.
But people just with
what
the
are
break-
your parents?
Well, it's a cycle.
What is your mother and your father instilling in you? What are they doing to carry out certain situations in your life? Of course, kids gonna fuck up. That's what you supposed to break your arm and you supposed to just fuck up in life, but you're supposed to be instilled with certain morals and guidance.
You're supposed
But
to.
sometimes
You're
those
supposed
morals
to.
and guidance lead children to fear what's going to happen if I get pregnant, especially religious families.
100%.
So you can't-
Hit that, Sumie.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, sometimes you do live in
You ain't gonna
fear.
get me to argue
Yo,
with that.
she hit fire. She hit fire right
You do. You live in fear. They're instilling in you what's right and wrong, but they're in a forceful way instilling in you what's right or wrong, not letting you make the decision. Like, yeah, I know
like
it's right.
how though?
Like,
Well,
Like
kind
just
of,
telling
like,
you stay
think-
away from him.
Stay away from sex.
No,
Stay
no,
away
no.
from this. That's
Yeah.
not the proper
I
way
don't
to
feel like that's them doing that. I feel like
Well,
that's just
it's
their
religion.
religion.
okay,
Well,
but you're
yeah.
talking about growing up
But you're
and
scared of your
instilling
parents.
values.
You're not scared of
That's
your
where your
religion.
values
Yeah.
originate.
Oh, so
You're not scared of your
so
religion.
you're
You're scared of your parents.
Yeah.
Because of the religion. Yeah. When you
I
grow,
think it's 50-50.
I mean, yeah, you're scared of your religion, but then it's like more.
But where did your
parents, 'cause
religion
it's-
come from? You didn't learn your religion from a stranger. It was brought
but
up in
once
your
you
home.
once you hit a certain age and grasp the concept of your religion and where you think you're going after,
Yeah,
and
but think about this.
But but then
Think about this. Say
you grow
you-
out of your values
Let me give you an
because
example.
Well, what
essentially-
about Catholic girls? Why they hoes?
And
Talk about that.
And,
Nah,
well,
yeah,
and
talk
you know
about
that's
religion.
funny that you bring that up because Catholicism is the strictest
Strictest,
on abortion.
And they the ones fucking boys.
Look,
And
that's why I
Sumi's. Was Sumi saying right?
That's what I'm.
my
yeah.
whole point is you can't suppress people.
Right.
If you had a daughter, Driss, when you have your daughter,
Shut up, bro. I'm not.
when you have your daughter, the worst thing you could do is be like, "You're not allowed to have fucking sex in my house." Or, like,
Don't be
believe me.
ignorant.
I mean,
and
just
think
like
your
you said,
child's
that's a
not.
good point. Because think of the drinking law
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
out there.
yeah. I mean,
that rule
if
is
you
kind of
know how-
fine to me.
if
You're
you
not
know-
allowed to have sex in my house. I know you're gonna have sex. You're just not doing it in my goddamn
No, that's
house.
different. But are you not going to educate your children?
That's
on
my
sex?
point.
Yeah,
You have to
educate them.
to like
Birds
for
and bees.
teenagers are rebellious.
Yeah.
They like you tell them not to drink. What's the one thing they want to do? Drink, and they want to get fucked up, and they're irresponsible with
You
it.
got a couple outliers.
One of my best
Sure,
friends, literally, and I mean, obviously, I'm not going to name drop. I don't think she'd care if I said, but her dad found out she was on birth. She told her mom. She came to her mom and
Oh, you
said,
talking about Christy?
He's lying. He's good. He's like, he knows what I'm saying.
drop for a second.
I was
I
like,
was like,
I was sipping. I looked over. I was like, what?
we disclosed. No, but I
There's
mean,
no Christy.
she told her mom about it, and her mom. I mean, I think that's when you have to decide as parents. Like, okay, if my child comes up to me, I should probably talk to my husband about it. But long story short, her dad basically was home, got a phone call, something. Oh, your daughter's prescription's ready, and he's kind of sitting there like, prescription, like, is she sick or whatever? And he's like, what was this one
kill her.
again? And it was like straight up. I mean, she said the name of birth control. Basically, it was birth control, and that's how he found out that his daughter was having sex
I'll be
because
so
she had a
hurt. I'll be
boyfriend,
so
right? But at
hurt.
the end of the day, he did
Always.
have the whole panic and freak out, but he did it behind closed doors with his wife, and then came to her the next day like, listen, I'm just gonna tear it off.
I have a question about this. Okay, now you know I have this birds and bees talk. Okay, I think it should be both. I think the mom and the dad should have the conversation with the son, and the mom and dad should have the conversation with the
Yeah.
daughter.
I
Isn't that
agree.
what it's
Just the
supposed
dad
to
I
with the
agree.
son, and not just the daughter with
No, I
the
agree.
Ain't that what it's? Isn't that what it is?
No,
Like,
a lot of
hell
parents.
A lot
no.
of parents will go to the
I didn't have to talk in
daughter
general.
will go
I
to
didn't have it at all.
mom.
A
son
lot
will
of
go
black
to,
people don't have to. We just
Sure.
learn that shit.
The
like-
last thing I would ever if let's just say I had a daughter, the last thing I'm doing is just letting her just all right, she hit puberty, let's not bring it up. Nah, dog, what the fuck? I'm
No,
like,
we're
look,
not stopping it at your mom. 'cause
my
I
parents made me
tricked
go
your
straight to
mom.
sex ed.
I got your mom in her
I'ma be-
fucking
well,
panties.
you
Let
also
me show
gotta-
you how to
you
not
also gotta be
with,
like
with
the-
the game.
You also got to accept the fact that your daughter's gonna have sex.
Yeah.
eventually.
Oh, yeah, you
that's
gotta take
gonna
that up
happen.
top.
All right, but
And she's gonna-
but
Oh.
here's my
Especially if she
thing.
has your genes, she a freak.
No, but my
yeah.
greater point.
Don't say that, bro.
She gonna be a freak, dog.
My greater point is
Oh.
you in knowing that you got to tell her who to have sex with,
Yep.
what good
What's the guy's
qualities
right
to
guy?
find in a
Yeah.
guy.
It's not about telling her. It's about showing her who you
you
are.
are. That's setting the
Yeah.
example. That's why you have to have a father.
That's
in
why
the
girls
home.
have daddy complexes.
Goddamn right.
And that's why sometimes when a lot of these girls do have,
Sometimes you can have an overbearing daddy at home.
sure, I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying
but
fathers.
look at it in a positive light. Think about if you didn't.
Yeah. Think about it if you didn't.
but real shit. We had this conversation on a special episode we're gonna drop, but the chances, your chances are a lot higher for chaos and just not knowing accountability when you don't have two pillars in the house.
Because you're not listening to your mom at 13. She can't beat your ass
you're
anymore.
done.
It's just like
the
all right.
father is the law. He's the order. He sets down shit. The mom is, she's supposed to back you up.
No, you're squinting your eyes, but I'm telling you right now, the fact that you had a dad in the house, look at your life. You're successful. You're on the right path.
Now there are outliers.
Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing, but I'm not going to say that my dad was the one that laid the law down. I think that's
I think
not an
I'm not
accurate
saying
statement.
verbally. I'm saying the examples that he said. It's not a matter
And
of like, hey,
sometimes
you
it's-
need to be here at 10.
Perfect.
It's the fact
And
that
it's
he was just at
just
home
there.
every day.
Thank
It's
you.
the fact that he
that counts.
provided for your mom. So
You
now
know what?
what do you look for
I'm
that
gonna
in a guy
agree.
now?
I'm gonna agree because my dad was kind of like he was soft spoken, but when he did get mad, that's when you knew shit was
My
real.
dad is
Like,
the exact same way.
But
My dad
the-
is the nicest person on the
Yeah.
planet.
On top of that, when you grow up under at a certain age, you're growing up under your mother. So you feel all this nurture, everything feels like sunshine. So when your dad get
Mad.
that shit feel like thunder, and then you see your mom get shook up, like, oh shit, all right, calm down. He this nigga,
Yep.
that's law, that's order. It don't matter how soft or blah 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 he was.
But
It's when he gets loud,
let's tie it back into
Abortion,
Yo, you
though.
know
Guys
what?
love-
I've been thinking about the nicest way to say this because that's why I was so quiet.
Yeah.
Me and Alpha had this discussion earlier this week about abortion, and this is how I think about it. So with the world that is almost close to being like it's almost overpopulated by a bunch of humans.
I love this point.
You know what I'm
by the
saying?
way.
Why are we having this debate whether it should be pro-life or pro-choice? You know what I'm saying?
Pro-choice.
It should be pro-choice. Why are we encouraging so much?
I feel you. We can't even feed like half the like people in the world right now.
You know what I think
You
it
want
is?
more of it?
Religion is why.
That
Yeah,
and I
100%.
think and I think this goes back to chaos. I think they want to establish when you got too much choice, that's too much chaos. They want to establish something that they say like y'all can't do this. Okay, listen to us. That's just another way for them to strap it down.
That's what I'm saying.
This is like I'm having like an epiphany right now because so I showed like the classic book The Giver, right?
Whoa, what is that? I don't know what that
All right,
man.
so it's basically like it's set in the future and they have so many technological advances and they have like it's basically like a dystopian society, and what that is it's like a perfect society that's not perfect. Okay, so like they function as a perfect society. They've eliminated all diseases, they've eliminated all tragedy from the world, there's no war, et cetera, except there's always
still chaos.
they're still human, right?
Yeah.
So then there's the people, and of course like in young adult literature it's always some like teenage that's like, hey, wait a minute, this doesn't seem right. They rebel, whatever. Okay, but here's the thing. In The Giver, we watched the movie this week because I'm that cool of a teacher.
I loved it when teachers would show fucking movies.
Okay, but here's the
Salute
thing.
to Cassie.
They like weighed the babies. So like they would have babies. Okay.
And weigh them?
They would weigh them. And after a certain period of time, if the baby didn't weigh a certain amount, they would send them to what they called elsewhere. And the whole society was trained to believe that was just another place that was better for them.
Wait a minute.
What they were doing was killing
what did
the babies.
Parents feel?
Well, they weren't parents. There were birth mothers who just carried the children and gave them up.
Handsmaids.
Oh shit.
And then, but here's the thing. This is what's blowing my mind is because the reason they have the argument about abortion is because when they do decide to have population control, they want it to be on their terms.
Yeah.
The government is going to say, we're going to take out these kids for this reason, but we're doing it. And we will have no idea because the people will be so desensitized.
Yo, that's amazing.
It's kind of like China right now. Well, I mean, it's
China at one point forced people to have one child. I'm not against that. I don't
I'm
think
not either.
No, the real shit, like these people who are out here having 6, 7, 8
agree.
kids. Yo,
Y'all
relax.
niggas is eating up all the kale.
Right,
there's
but then
mad
the
carbon.
government cannot
Tired of
take
this shit.
away contraceptives. I think that's the biggest fucked up
That's-
thing. Like,
that's
That's where we all agree.
right, like take away contraceptives, but don't allow abortion. So you're gonna you know what I mean? I just don't understand.
That's where it comes
I read-
back to.
yeah.
But
Sumie.
think
This is-
about this. For me to be on the devil's advocate side, won't that kind of make say how they say, oh, well, if football is so dangerous because there's so much padding and the helmets. Now, if you take away the helmets and the padding, niggas won't hit each other as hard because they know the damage. Y'all don't think it will work the same way?
no, not at all.
No, I don't think.
Because the helmets and stuff. First of all, when football terms, like the helmets and stuff are just to prevent those accidents. Because niggas don't really intend to head-to-head collisions. You know what I'm saying? They don't try to do that.
But you're a little bit more lenient to do it if you know you got a layer.
But you
of-
also have to think historically, like when people have tried to eliminate things, like talk about prohibition, they tried to eliminate,
and that's why I.
the
finish your point.
sale of alcohol and the overuse of alcohol, and that just caused people to drink more. It doesn't decrease it; it just then becomes a bigger problem because they're trying to do it illegally.
It goes back
What
to
about Mexico?
Well, no, it goes back to drug use. That's why I'm pro-liberal. That's why I'm for legalizing drugs. You wipe out the
Yeah,
cartels.
Mexico.
Well, yeah, you wipe out the cartels when you legalize that shit. Sure, now I don't necessarily like the government regulating anything.
Yeah.
Which is why, if you're putting a gun to my head, yeah, I'm probably a little more pro-choice because I don't like anybody regulating anyone.
Right.
I think there should be some sort of regulation.
Sure, but I can. Yeah, of course there needs to be a little bit, but I will
Wait a minute,
also
what is
say
that term called? Where is multiple government, small governments? What is that
small
called?
government.
small governments.
It's
I like
a term for that though. It's not just small government. I mean, but that's besides the
But
point.
that's the reason why I'm saying. But with all that being said, it's a lot easier to make the pro-life argument than it is the pro-choice. And like when we do this thing to where it's like, no, women, like when we just simply say it's a woman's right to choose, I don't know if that's a good enough argument to win. If you're debating somebody and you're debating abortion, that sole point in itself isn't enough to win an argument.
I have a
But you know
question.
what? I'll let Cassie go.
No, go ahead,
But
go
I'm saying with the pro-choice, why I don't understand. I feel like there should be a lot more arguments towards that, because it's like, if it's pro-choice, then if you really feel the need to keep the child, then you can keep the goddamn child. That's your opinion. You know what I'm saying? Like, why is your opinion on what she should do with her body valid?
Well,
you know what I'm
because
saying?
the whole point is they believe that is a baby from the start.
Then
And why do they believe that? Because of religion.
Yeah, exactly.
religion.
And science is inconclusive on it, so
Yeah,
nobody,
yeah.
you can't really prove either
Men
side. at this
shouldn't tell
point.
what women should do with their bodies at the end of the day.
that's
But
But it's not about.
I'm sorry.
Stop being politically correct all the
Yeah.
time. It's not just men.
And it's not even that.
It's women
It's
telling
other
women.
women.
I know
That's-
there's
That was
women
the
in
point
the
I was going to
government.
make.
There's women on there. Stop
Well, you know
shitting
what?
on us,
I'm
bro.
not shitting on us, man.
What
We
were
should
you
have
gonna
no
say?
say in
What were
this
you
at
gonna say,
all.
Cassie?
It should be women against women.
Hold on. Shut up, guys. What were you going to say, Cassie?
I was just going to ask the question, like, there does come a point in some women's pregnancies that carrying a child puts their life in danger.
And when and
so then what?
no.
So then does
No.
an unborn child become more important than that woman's
no,
life?
it doesn't. And actually, in the Bible,
think
it
of that
states
one.
that. So I'm glad you brought that up. Actually, if the mother's life is in danger,
Alpha's favorite
then
book.
Yeah. If the mother's life is, I've actually read it. That's why. But if the mother's life is in danger, then her life absolutely trumps the unborn life. That's not even a question.
But pro-life people
But why
don't
ain't
think
that
that
question?
way.
Well, no, they do. They've conceded that. And they said if the mother's life is in danger, like if she's about to lose her
She's
life,
allowed to have that abortion.
you could her life. That's in the that's
So how
in
does
the
somebody?
Bible.
Wait,
That's-
how does
you don't
somebody's
think so?
moral?
That's a choice.
How does somebody moral of that?
Sure.
Exactly.
come
Well, I
from
mean,
rape?
religion contradicts itself all the time.
But
I'm
that's
not-
what I
know.
agree with. But like, but Bashir, it's a choice.
That's their
Pro-choice. It's a choice. It's their choice. You know what? I'm not. You know,
I don't know if
I
she
have
has
to
a
give up.
choice in that
No,
situation.
no, their choice.
But
It's
it
their
is a
choice.
choice. It's
They
her
made that
choice to whether she wants to let herself die or not
That's true.
by having the baby. So why can't she decide if she wants to have the baby or not, regardless?
Yeah. What if she
Well,
wants?
because I think-
So are you? Wait a minute. Are you saying like if I know I'm going to die, I still want this baby?
Some women are like that. A lot of women
they're
were
not
still.
allowed?
Oh well, if that's the
No,
case,
no,
then she
I'm
should be allowed.
saying. I'm saying
Yeah, some
like
people- yeah.
if like
I was
you know.
wondering that. I was
What do you
just-
mean?
Can she still have the baby even if she knows it's going to kill her?
Yeah. The doctors.
That happens
Yeah, I seen
sometimes.
it. I seen
Yeah,
it.
it's up to
I
the
mean,
mom ultimately that they make
the
the
doctors
decision.
tell her.
That's a real
The
sacrifice.
doctors tell her. Like there
What
was
if your
a
kid
there-
grew up to be a piece of shit?
No,
What
no.
if your kid grew up to be a murderer?
I was watching Grey's
That kid has
Anatomy.
to be a legend.
I was watching
Yeah.
Grey's Anatomy.
Maybe
There's a
Obama.
part where the lady has cancer, but she's pregnant. So
Yeah.
she is dying,
remember
but she wants to
that
have a
episode.
baby. And then if she has a baby,
Mhm.
if
Well,
she
it's
has
kinda
a
already-
more
it
like,
makes it a little easier.
but she
though.
has more likely going to die if she has this baby right now.
Yeah, it's like I seen that. I seen a house episode of House like that,
Yeah.
where the
So the
person
doctors,
has-
Good episode.
the doctors just tell
I
them
mean,
like,
it's
yo,
just like
make
a
choice.
DNR, like a do not resuscitate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm choosing, like, yes, you can give me anything, any medical supplies to keep me alive for years on end, but I don't want that quality of life. I want to die. So they sign a DNR.
Jesus Christ.
So I was thinking about that when you're talking about the fetuses and like when it gets like brain activity. So when you're brain dead, are you alive?
Oh, that's a great point.
Right.
So-
You don't have consciousness.
No, but that's
You don't have
wow. What a
consciousness.
Your
phenomenal
blood doesn't.
point.
Your blood's not going.
No,
to you,
all right.
right?
So if you pull the plug
Yeah,
on that person, you're stripping them of their choice.
yeah,
Yes or
yeah,
no?
yeah.
No, but that's what a DNR stands
Oh,
for.
okay.
Do not resuscitate.
But that's
Meaning,
Yeah, they got to sign
meaning
that, bro.
I don't want you
Okay.
to take extreme measures to keep me alive if I'm
okay.
brain dead.
Let me
People
go.
sign that. That's
Okay.
why you have these talks with your family. Like,
let me
what
go.
would happen? Yeah, people say, just let me know. That's their fucking choice.
That's their
Again,
choice, though,
pro-choice.
yeah.
Fuck
Yeah,
that.
no,
I'm
it's
the
a
government.
choice.
I love you. I want to keep you alive.
When do you
Let's
sign
battle.
that? When do you sign that?
You
I
sign
mean,
it
I
when you
don't-
go into the hospital.
hospital-
Either on your will or
Yeah.
in your hospital.
But
If
you-
feeling
What if
you
you
sick.
have
just
these
have an
conversations.
aneurysm out of nowhere?
Yeah, and that's not
It's
the
the
case all the
family. It's
time.
the
Right, it's
so
not.
the family would decide.
Right, the
choice.
family would decide, but that's the family putting them, and that's not illegal.
Yeah.
It's not
It's not
illegal.
the government saying,
The
nah,
government's not
you
saying
gotta keep
your
them
parents
alive.
can't decide if your child has a brain aneurysm, and the child never told their fucking parents, "Mom, Dad, I want you to pull the
Like,
plug."
so the
That's a
government.
good-
Now the
that's a
government.
Everything's a contradiction.
That's
the
a
thing.
good. I mean, this is not this episode, but that's a good one. We got to jot that down for morality.
Yeah, so
DNR.
like the government,
Sure.
the government
Morality
can't tell
episode.
you like,
That's
no,
good.
you can't pull the plug on this person, even if
That's a
though
family
it's your
decision.
husband.
Right.
So what gives them the choice to be like, yo, yeah, you can't
bring
kill
this
this
child-
baby?
yeah.
Well, right now the government is given the choice. We got to state that.
I know they are giving the choice, but
I'm
they're
saying,
fighting
okay,
to not give
people,
the choice.
people, let's say pro-life people, like, okay, if you had someone in your family that says, no, I don't want this quality of life. I want you to pull the plug. I'm signing my DNR.
Mhm.
And then you're like, no, I'm not going to, no, I want to keep it on, like,
No, the government says no, you're not allowed to sign
I'm
anything.
not even talking
DNR.
about the government. I'm talking about people who are pro-life is what I'm saying. Like when you think about that, like if your child is brain dead, let's say your child is brain dead,
okay.
like he's a full child, like let's say he's 13, okay? Brain
Brain
dead,
dead.
literally. So Yeah, we don't want to keep him on machines for 10 or 15 years. That's no quality of life.
Let me kill him.
Well, I knew my fetus wasn't going to have a quality of life.
Good quality of life. Oh,
Well, okay, so
God damn.
Yeah, that's a great point.
I like that.
I think the point that someone on the who's pro-life would make is, all right, my child's brain dead. I am playing God if I pull that plug, so I can't pull that plug.
Don't they know if they're gonna have autism or not before they born and stuff?
Not
So
always.
sounds like that.
Summy's saying what?
No, I agree. Everything she just
I'm
said
not
is
saying
is
but
on-
like the pulling the plug part. They're saying what gives them the choice not to pull the plug.
Right.
Oh,
That's what it is. You're getting
Hey,
a choice.
I ain't arguing
right.
this.
So you're making the life. You're making
Yeah.
the decision. No, you're not allowed to kill your fetus. Okay,
Yeah.
so you're not giving me a choice, but you still have the choice to
But-
pull the plug.
Okay, so but you're in. All right,
you
so
don't
this
wanna
is-
pull the
this is
plug, that's your
hypothetical. So
choice.
this is the hypothetical. If I'm
Okay.
If it's still
incorrect.
alive, you gotta let it
So
live
let's just
out.
say,
Pro-life,
hold on, real
pro-life.
quick. Let me explain. If the woman initially wanted to have an abortion, but somebody or didn't want to have an abortion, she kept the child on purpose.
Mhm.
And then the child grew up, got to 13, became brain dead, and she was like, "All right, pull the plug."
Yeah.
And you're saying that's hypocritical? I agree. I'm
Okay.
saying like
I
that's
don't know.
like-
And
yeah,
actually,
yeah,
and
yeah.
somebody
That's what you
needs
were-
to
Tied it in
fact
more,
check.
but,
nice.
Somebody needs to fact check this part because I don't know with the DNR if it comes down to like a minor, are they allowed to make that decision, or if it's a
Okay,
family?
so how
They're
about-
not.
so let's-
Okay, so I'm saying even that kid still doesn't even have, and he's a full kid. He's literally conscious, aware. Now he's not, you know. But it's like it's up to the parents to decide if they want to pull the plug. And even if that kid wanted to die, let's say that kid wanted to die, but that parent is saying, no, I want you to be on machines for 20 years because at least my child is physically next to me. Why the fuck do you get that choice when your own child with a conscious
I think this
mind?
ties in.
Well-
I think this ties in like is another episode. Of
consciousness is another.
But I told you
morality
straight up,
thing
I don't
too.
care about, it has a heartbeat, it has brain activity. It doesn't have consciousness as a fetus.
Sure. And one would argue that
why is
just
that murder?
like because when you're dead, you have no consciousness. That's like who's to say that that's a bad thing? Like if you're talking about like consciousness versus living, you go through ups and downs emotionally while you're living. When you're dead, you're dead. You ain't feeling nothing. Now, I'd rather be alive than dead because I like the ups and downs. It's life. But
That's because you've experienced it.
yeah, but
Yeah.
exactly. But if I never were to experience it, it'd be nothingness. It's the whole reason why I don't.
I like to look at it from a financial standpoint too.
Sure.
They say like okay, you got to have this baby, but what if the baby comes out sick and I don't have the money to keep up with all these hospital bills and this fucks up me and my family?
Sure, and that's the pro-choice argument, which is a very valid argument. All right, you want
what,
People
nigga?
who, no, I'm saying people who are pro-life are saying, well, we want you to have this baby, but we're not going to help you take care of it when you have it.
Yeah, they should be. Yeah, if you gonna make us have this baby, you cash out for every fucking
All right, so
thing.
do you mind taking tax dollars out of your paycheck to pay for that child?
Fuck no, because he gonna eat up all the kale at Whole Foods.
Okay, cool. So then you're pro-choice.
you
Then.
goddamn right.
All
I
right.
am.
We got
Yeah.
that. Because I'm for people having less children. Like
But you,
Period.
But you're with
I'm on
people.
that
Well,
China
that have
man.
that choice.
Y'all niggas only
contraceptives
can
is a
have
way.
two.
that's what I'm saying.
Contraceptives is
I
a way to
want
hold.
contraceptives.
Yeah.
I don't want it to get to the point where people have to choose abort. Because again, I'm out of this. I thoroughly see
Yeah.
both sides of this argument.
I'm barely pro-human. Let alone
Feel you. Oh my
That's the
god.
realest shit you said.
Fuck humans.
That's the
I'm
realest
Humans
quote for this
suck.
pro-human,
podcast.
bro. Let alone
Bro,
fucking
Dooley-
pro-choice and all
That
that.
is the
I was
realest
talking to
quote
Dooley
for this
earlier.
podcast.
I know this is a perfect title, bro. I was talking to Dooley earlier about this podcast. He goes, he FaceTimed me. Fucking weirdo, bro. Niggas FaceTime niggas is kind of weird for me.
Bro, you
FaceTimed you
FaceTime me
today.
all the
Than
time.
anybody I know.
You FaceTime me
Hey,
all the
FYI,
time.
I
Yeah, but
FaceTimed
like
you to see where your
FaceTiming
ass
me,
was.
It's huh?
I FaceTimed you just today.
You're not
to
a
see where
nigga.
your-
I say you my nigga, but you ain't a nigga. I'm saying FaceTime me is kind of weird.
Okay.
Anywho, this nigga's like, yo, you should start off the podcast like this.
He don't get it. No, he bring his ass on.
I know, but it was so smooth. He was like, all right.
Dooley is cool.
So, how many of y'all parents do you think thought of having an abortion?
oh,
I know for sure. Like my mom, the way my mom is, she was just like, "We just gonna rock."
I know for a
We just
fact.
gonna
I
see
was-
how shit go.
that I was playing. My mom got married at 22, had me at 30. She was trying to have a kid.
Oh fuck you!
I know for a fact my mom
Fuck
thought
you
about
and
it.
your plan.
Hold on,
Your life.
hold on, cut it, bro. What'd you say?
I know for a fact my mom thought about it. I'm serious because my parents weren't married. My mom already had one child from a previous marriage. They were both, my mom and my dad were both married before going through a divorce. They were broke as fuck.
Damn.
And then I just, popped up. And my mom says that when she told my dad, he cried and not tears of joy. He was
sorry.
devastated.
And let's keep it real. When I say don't think about elephants, it's the first thing y'all think about. So when you fucking soon as you say we're pregnant or I'm that's the nobody wants to admit it. Probably nobody wants to say it out loud. Yeah,
Are you keeping
we're
it?
going there.
Yeah.
Like, all right,
At this
If
age,
it wasn't planned,
I'll say
obviously.
this.
Yeah,
Are you
at-
going
at
there?
At this
Quick.
age, I don't know. I'd probably be like, okay, well, I guess we're
no,
you ask her.
5 years ago, I would have been like, yo.
But
is
even
she-
still, like you might not go through with it, but in the
Yeah.
back of your head,
Bro.
you like,
You know what I'm thinking about right now in the back of my head? Remember, you seen that meme of that African dude? Oh my God!
We're pregnant.
Oh my God!
This is where I wish Bashir had a soundboard
Oh
with
my
that
goodness, I would've
specific
definitely
one.
done
Yo, but to-
But yeah, I mean, but that's like it sucks, Cassie.
Yeah.
But like you're like a plus for pro life now.
yeah,
You know,
because you were able to
Yeah.
manifest and you're a productive member of society.
you're a you're teaching
kids.
you right. Some people, some people.
But
might
also,
go-
I would argue that like my parents were broke, but they weren't like
Struggling.
homeless,
Yeah.
Sure.
You know what?
and
though?
they weren't like completely unwell. Like they just were like, well, this
So,
isn't
can I-
ideal, but
we're
I was gonna say this. I think that a lot of kids that are born are just like surprises, and they weren't like not wanted,
feel like
but at the
that's-
same time,
I
like
feel like that's everybody.
yeah, you know what I'm
Damn
saying
near
they're
a lot of
surprises.
people.
Like that's
I'll
all
say-
I
I'm
was
just-
wanted. My mother was holier
course
than
you
a
might be
saint's ass.
wanted,
because-
but
You're
it's
wanted,
still a
but, like,
surprise.
yeah, you're still a
I'm saying
surprise.
like
Yeah,
actually
that's
planned. Like
My little
youngest,
sister wasn't.
yeah, my youngest brother was
10 years
planned.
difference.
Aw,
I know.
No, I
I don't
wasn't.
think
Like
my.
me and my sister were definitely playing.
I don't think my sister right before me was playing because I have one that's 3 years older, one's 2, skip a year, then one that's 1 year older.
Yeah.
That's 3 girls. And I know my dad, he's trying to knock out a boy here. After he's like 3 strikes, I'm out.
Damn, how is your dad?
He was 68, 67.
God
I
damn.
know. He
You know what I
rocked.
was-
He rocked.
Oh, keep going.
But and then my little sister's 10 years difference. I know my dad was sitting there like, fuck. My nigga was at least like 58 when that happened. Knocking
So
out a new
imagine
baby.
having a kid
I
at
do want to
58.
bring up.
Yeah.
I don't. Does anyone know anyone who's personally adopted?
Yeah,
I do.
know a couple
I
people.
do.
I actually do.
So that I was listening to something earlier. It was a podcast earlier, where this dude's a prominent writer now, but he's strictly pro life. Which is funny. I was listening to this today and it popped up this the topic of abortion. But he's strictly pro life because he puts himself as that fetus. Like if I was aborted, I wouldn't be here talking to you. My mom decided to go through with it. He grew up. His mom was poor growing up. All that shit. And
But
he's
that wouldn't hurt him or help him.
sure,
Yeah.
but he's strictly pro life for the fact that he's living and he's just like, I'm here now and I'm happy to be here. Is why I take that pro life stance. I'm not saying he's right or wrong.
Your
I'm
mama
just
might
saying-
have not been happy to have you
So
there.
I'm-
She
So
might
I'm
be happy
thinking-
now though,
But the
because he's
fetus,
a prominent writer.
the
and makes a
fetus
lot of
doesn't
money.
have a like. It doesn't. That's just like death. People be like, "Oh, pour a bottle out for me when I die," or having a funeral. That doesn't do anything for the dead person.
It's kind of fucked up too, because the fetus doesn't have a name. It's not like
It's nothing. It doesn't have a
Sometimes.
feeling, a thought, a thing, a nothing.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's a great point Sumie made about consciousness. Because one could argue when you're unconscious, it's just, you're nothing at that point. Like it's just
Yeah.
like it's nothingness. When you're asleep, you're at peace. You don't even know you're at peace. You're
Yeah.
asleep. It's nothing.
Your battery is off.
Which is kind of the reason why I don't believe in God. Because beforehand, sorry to bring,
Jesus Christ.
No, I'm sorry. Just to bring it up
Jesus
because
Christ,
Allahu
Alpha.
Akbar.
it
Oh,
it
Lord.
ties in for the sense that a lot of people believe
my
are pro-life because they are religious. So
And you
there's
know-
nothingness before you're born.
You know what I'm gonna say too? A lot of the arguments.
we
You
don't
say
know
that with a
that,
fact.
Alpha.
You said that
Shut
with
your
a
ass
like a
up.
fact, my nigga.
A lot of
we
the
don't know.
arguments.
There's no facts in
A
this
lot
world.
of the arguments that are for pro life are just like based off of religion, and they're just
Sure.
kind of extreme. Like a lot of them are,
which is
Wait
Yeah,
a minute. Since
they're
you
kinda-
said my fault. Since you said that, what about when you like plant a seed?
what do you mean? Oh yeah,
like a
okay, I know what you
flower.
mean. Yeah.
How could like
Oh no,
imagine if
I'm
a
not-
flower
hey,
could talk?
Disclaimer: I'm not saying I'm right. I could be completely wrong.
Think
I
about
never
that
know.
though. Like if a flower could talk, it'd be like, well, there was nothing before I. It was like, no, nigga, I planted you.
Sure.
when I
I'm
plant,
your God.
Have I planted a flower before? Or
Yeah,
seed?
I did
I-
fourth grade.
But I don't want to skip over this one.
The sign-off agreement for men.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
What do you
okay,
mean
is
by that?
So,
I'm-
do you want to explain?
Yeah.
So I guess I'm not too fully. But if the daughter, I mean, if the woman has the baby and the man doesn't want it, I don't know if it's passed or not.
He could sign off
He
the
could
rights.
sign off, yeah, like
So-
saying, "Well,
Boom.
I don't want to have it," and she's like, "Fuck you, I do." But
She goes
if he
through with it.
signs off saying, "I don't want," I
don't want nothing to do with it.
she can't put him on child support, but he can't see the baby ever.
He has nothing to do with it.
I
like
think
that.
that's fine. Then don't
think
ever
that's fine.
fucking come
That's
to.
fine.
Because
That's
I would
pro-choice.
argue there's a lot of people that
That's
is
pro-choice.
That's pro-choice.
Okay, but I'm gonna argue you because you're all about accountability.
I was gonna make that point.
What gives you the right to sign off the
Love
fact that.
that.
you don't want a part of it?
Yeah, I think he's a bitch made nigga for that. By
that's
the way,
fine. That's fine. Your
Yeah.
judgments on me.
Yeah.
I'm accountable to what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Then she's accountable for getting an abortion.
Yeah, but
I
she's
mean,
also
she can.
accountable for
she
keeping
can have the
it.
abortion, or she
Okay.
can keep the kid.
But
But
he-
don't
in
keep
his
the
case,
kid.
He's saying, yeah.
Don't keep the kid. Keep the kid. But if I'm saying, listen,
I don't
I'm
want
not
it.
ready. I don't want to be a part. Now, if you're saying, so what? I don't care about what you want. I'm having this baby anyways. Okay, do your thing.
I
I'm
like
signing
that.
off.
I would actually, not to seem, I don't know, I don't think most girls would agree with me, but I would actually agree that's fine because it is my choice to, just like it would be my choice to terminate, even if my husband, whoever, my significant other didn't want to.
Exactly.
If I'm being able to choose to terminate a
Sumie
baby.
out here today, boy.
But I just
she
think
did
like,
her homework today. She came ready.
that's just me, but like I said, I think a lot of girls would disagree with me.
Oh, Cass is hot.
do.
Hold on,
Yeah.
Cass is hot
Well,
right now. Go
well,
ahead.
here's my
This is
thing.
between-
It depends.
wait,
Let it go.
no,
Let him
shut
go.
up.
Let him
I
go.
want them
Let him go.
to
Yeah, go.
talk
Shit,
this
my bad.
out.
No, because I would just disagree that then earlier we all said that it would be 50-50 man and woman to decide whether they're getting an abortion, but it's
I did, but okay. Yeah,
Right, no, I didn't say that though. I think it should be more on the women. So if she's choosing to
we
keep
all
it,
agreed that it's definitely the women's choice at the end, but that you're going to have that discussion with the spouse.
right, I agree.
So then why does it give him the right to just exit?
No, you still should have the at the end of the day, it's about discussion. But I personally think if I'm making the decision to abort the child, and even if I have a discussion and the discussion comes down to, no, I want to keep the child. No, I'm the woman. I get to terminate it. Vice versa. I think if the man is like, no, I don't think we're fit to have a kid. I can't afford a kid. Even till the end of my days, I can't afford it. But I don't think you should keep it. But I say, no, I want to keep it. I don't feel like I should be taking money
Look at
from
that
both.
intellectual
That's how I feel.
honesty right
That's
there. I
true.
like that.
But you're saying that
boy.
you're saying that from a standpoint of you are financially stable to take care of a baby.
No, I'm not, but I decided for some reason I am. I made the
No, but I'm
decision.
saying you personally are
Right.
financially
Yeah.
stable, so you can't make that argument because you don't know what it would be like to be broke.
If I
But
okay, but
financial
you're putting everything in
stableness is
hypothetical.
a-
So let's say hypothetically we're all broke and we're getting an abortion. Let's say my significant other, who's a
That's a
man, is
perspective,
saying,
though.
right? But this is all perspective because
I mean,
you
I'm
can't
talking about
argue.
the financial part.
Right now,
'Cause
I
you can be
understand.
good.
Right now, I understand. But even if I'm financially supported or not, I think if a husband or not a husband necessarily, but somebody really truly didn't want to be in my life and didn't want to pay for it, I just can't accept that money. And even if I wasn't financially stable, I'd get an abortion. I'm straight up saying it.
Ooh, I like that.
Yo,
I like
if
that.
the woman,
I like
yeah.
I mean, I agree
And
with
that's
you.
fine. You
I
can change
would
your mind
too.
tomorrow, but I appreciate
I'm
the
with that.
honesty
If-
today.
I like the consistency. That's just
Yeah.
like I don't like
Yo,
when people are flip flopping.
if the
Way to
woman
be
has the
consistent.
right to have, as we are all, I think we're all in the same place. Pro-choice, alpha's indifferent, right?
Alpha
Yeah.
is pro-choice.
No, I'm not. Well, the reason I'm saying I'm indifferent because at the end of the day, what strange woman wants to get an abortion, I don't give a
Exactly.
fuck.
Okay.
Cool.
Listen,
Go
all right.
for
So
it.
if the woman has a choice,
So
to
you're
have
more
the-
pro-choice than pro-life.
So
If you put it, yeah, sure, whatever.
All right.
If you
So-
if you want me to make a choice,
we don't care. Listen, if the woman, I'll fuck with
I
you.
didn't think y'all
If
did.
the woman has a choice to have the baby or not, without the guy saying yes or no, correct already?
Yeah.
Cool. So then the guy should have a choice to be like,
I'm not saying he shouldn't have a choice, but I don't think that there should be a piece of paper that says that he's never.
so he has to be
responsible.
he has to be responsible.
Stop. Wait.
I'm just saying he shouldn't have a piece of paper that just gets him out of all responsibility. Like
Yeah.
he penetrated her and knocked her up. There's no
that's
reason
the
that he
accountability.
should.
You're coming
Yeah.
from that
But-
point too,
okay.
but she.
Damn, I really like that.
What
part.
about
Because-
what about marriage when they sign together and
And
then
divorce.
they split
I was
up
thinking about
and
divorce,
she gets
yeah.
all that just because of a piece of paper?
Which is
But
completely unfair, by the way, because women are like
It's not about a fair. I mean,
Well,
I'm not
it's not
even
about
trying to
fair.
go about a fair
I'm
thing.
talking about just from when that was when marriage originally happened. Like marriage was put in place for the woman to be secure. Now women are in the workforce; they can provide for themselves. So I do think laws should actually be
Changed.
a little
Well,
different now.
Cassie, how about this? How about this? What if
we
that
strung
paper?
off? I didn't want to string off for.
Hold on, I got you. What if that paper had a time limit like has a time limit like the women, but shorter? Like right when she figured out she's married, literally you have or right when she tells you, actually, shit, that'd be good. Or not married, pregnant.
Married.
Not married, not
I'm
married.
like, are we on marriage or pregnant time? Because I'm very
So
different
like,
views.
say we say like 6 weeks, she didn't know she was pregnant, and in the 7th week she found out she's pregnant.
Okay.
You have
That's
a
a
week.
fair argument.
You have a week to sign this paper, because I would
So
say
they
like,
need to
'cause
put
in
in
the
a
long,
law to
yeah,
let you know when this paper
yeah,
is.
because in the long run,
nullified.
That just goes in with all of the gray areas we've been talking
Yeah.
about.
yeah,
because
because in the long run, it'd be crazy.
if you say by the 7th week and she
Yeah.
doesn't know she's pregnant until
Yeah,
10,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
See,
that's not fair
exactly.
for him either. I'm just saying.
Personally,
But like, I feel like guys will use that to be like
Yeah.
2 months. Yeah, my bad.
knowing the dudes I know, they wouldn't sign. They'd be in the child's life.
There's a lot of shittier dudes out
but
there.
yeah, no, I know, I
I don't
understand.
like kids, bro.
You don't want kids?
Bashir,
out.
I agree with, and I'll say this. I agree with
I'm
what
just playing,
Bashir's
guys.
saying. To your point is, just like an abortion, you can't backtrack after the second trimester,
that's what I'm
right?
saying.
So I agree with that, but that's when there should be a time limit. Like, listen, okay, I want to have the baby. Da da da. What are you saying? So are you saying this is going to be signed after they have birth or before or while they're pregnant? When are you saying this should be signed? Because that's what Bashir made that point, not me. I'm bringing it back up.
I said, ooh. I said, ooh, too. Like, ooh,
No, that's
good.
a good point, because I'll say this: if they're signing it while I'm pregnant, then that does change things versus after I have the kid and they're like, oh my God, I can't do it.
Oh, definitely.
But that's
While
how child
pregnant,
support
though.
is. Like child support, if a woman puts a man on child support, if she ever takes him off, she can never put him on again.
Rightfully so.
I didn't know that.
Rightfully
Wow.
so. I didn't know
makes
that
sense.
either. But you can't change a
Idea,
decision
yeah.
like
But
that.
that's Mine.
I'm
Hey,
never
that's the
mad at
change of a
women.
mind.
I'm never mad at women putting dudes on child support. Yo, you went half on a baby. Pay your
Hold
pay.
on, so you against this?
No, I'm saying if you sign that off before she has the child,
Then you cool.
cool. Then
Yeah.
cool. But if you brought that child in the world, bro,
You better
take care of your
yeah,
kids.
I agree.
I agree
Like-
morally. I just
Yeah.
think I look at you less of a man that you're not owning up to want to pay it.
Sure.
But
You're just gonna get.
That's what I'm
if you
saying. I
really
could never do
don't,
that.
but if you really
Judgment.
don't even care to pay it, I'm just the type of person. I don't even want you near my life, nor let alone your money and my child having that
But
money.
a lot of people
I'd
will still be
rather.
like, "Fuck you." The
See-
niggas still need shoes.
I
I
would
think,
rather fucking grind and strip on the streets than take money from a
Don't
baby
strip.
daddy that
No,
doesn't want to
don't
pay my
strip.
child's.
I just think that,
I
don't
can't take
strip.
money.
I just think that a lot of
I couldn't take money
I mean,
from
no
someone who has
disrespect to
nothing to
strippers.
do
Y'all
with my
do
kid.
a great service, but like, Sumie, you're better than that.
We love your heart.
I personally myself can't take money from a father that can't love my child. Because to me, that's dirty money,
I
and
just kinda
I'm
think
used to
I
dirty
just-
money from fathers because I
don't
personally
think it
it's
comes
a.
from the child. I think it's usually just a relationship between the guy and the girl. That's what I mostly see from.
I would agree with that.
Splitting apart.
That's where I
and
think
blum,
my
blum.
perspective is coming from, because if you're signing that paper when she's pregnant, it has nothing to do with the baby.
Yeah, it's
Because
just-
you
I
don't
hate
know
to see
anything
you.
about the baby.
I don't want to fuck
So
with
you don't want to be stuck to her. You don't want to be stuck with
Yeah.
her crazy ass. When
Yeah.
and I don't think that's fair, because
That's why
you were
you
with
do-
her when you fucked her, so
Yeah.
you need to be with her when she's crazy.
Stop going raw.
Whoa.
These chicks
So
you
I'm
do
with-
not wanna
I don't
be
know
with.
about that.
See,
I mean,
no,
I like
I'm
crazy
saying,
girls. That don't mean I want to be with them for the rest
If
of my
she's
life.
Then you
pregnant,
probably
yeah.
shouldn't get her
if
pregnant.
she's pregnant and she's like
Very true.
carrying the baby, I think the guy has the right to say, like, I don't.
I'm not disagreeing, but I'm just saying.
What
you
about-
can't,
I'm for this.
Yo, what about
Even though I would
accidents?
never do it.
Hold
I'm
on.
I
for
don't
it.
know.
I got a question. What about accidents? Because you guys are talking about like accountability. Say I'm strapped.
Accidents.
Say I'm strapped and
Nigga,
Then
did
it
you
was-
double check your condom?
Then it
Well,
was
you
meant
know,
to happen.
That's
yeah, no,
accountability.
yeah, okay. Well, you're stroking and shit happened.
That's
I mean,
that's
I know,
happened.
and you went in with, like, come on, I'm
personally.
Once that
bro.
bitch pop, you know what's going on.
But you already, halfway.
It
in
don't
there.
matter. That's
All right,
accountability.
but,
Nope,
it's
that's
happened.
You want
accountability.
You can
accountability?
still you
And
can
how
still
about
be
you
on
faded?
okay. You can still
So
be on
what? You
birth
shouldn't have got faded.
control.
Accountability.
Oh, damn.
You can still be on birth control and use a condom, and you can still have an accident.
So I had
You
an
literally
accident before.
can.
Ain't no
Hey,
such
hey.
I
thing
know
as an
one right
accident.
now.
Don't have sex.
Hey,
and
I
you
had
won't
an
have a
accident.
baby.
I had an accident
Accountability.
before.
That's
Beat this.
strong accountability. That's still
That's
accountability.
unlikely
logical.
non-human nature.
That's not. Yeah.
Not human
All right,
nature.
so
You have any more
this is
questions?
one of the main one. When is it deemed to be acceptable to have an abortion? When do y'all think the situation is? Okay, we're gonna get rape out the way. Rape
Yeah,
is definitely number
I-
one.
For me, rape, yeah. There again, there's people who are religiously conservative who would say, I don't care. Like that child had nothing to do with that rape. My thing is, how could you be
Give
how
it
can
up
you-
for adoption.
Yeah, well, yeah, that they would say that
9 months is a long time.
sure, and even then, still, you got it. This is where the empathy level comes in for me. The
Oh
fact
my
that you
God, alpha empathetic.
Alpha
What?
and empathy.
Damn, why'd they hit you like that? Yo, stay off my nigga like that.
Like
he
I'm-
has feelings.
Yeah.
He cares.
Nah,
he
the
understands.
empathy feeling comes to the. Here's no. My thing is, it's just like she still knows that there's a child out there in the world that she put out there, and that child's out there because of the worst moment of her life. If she takes care of that kid every day, she looks at that kid and she's reminded of the most horrible moment of her life. All right, yeah. So to me, it's like, nah, I don't rape. No, that's not.
Any
reason.
other situations?
Incest that
I would
goes with it
say
too.
I would say the
No,
top
incest.
3 would be
Incest
rape,
happens.
incest, and the life of the mother.
Wait a minute. What about incest? I'm not for it, but
No,
what y'all got
that
against it?
happens.
That happens.
There's fathers who
Incest?
rape their daughters, and that the daughters get
Well,
pregnant.
that's rape.
I mean, it's rape, but
And
it's
brother
still
and
like,
sister, you
But
know.
they still allowed to have it, even if they like, hey, I
Oh,
fucked my
speaking of
cousin.
incest, this man Bashir posted something on that gram.
Damn, bro, what I do? Oh my
put-
God!
no,
Don't,
you
don't
put-
put my name in incest
No,
together.
you
put
posted
that on
something
the
on the
gram.
I know, but
gram.
don't
It was
do
with the
that.
little rat.
Don't do that.
Incest.
I know, but don't do that, dog. People don't know what you're talking about. They're not following me.
Nah,
You said Bashir put up shit about incest.
They need to
on
take
my
that. They
IG.
need to hear that out of context.
God
All right,
damn.
All right, well, Bashir posted something on the gram like 2 days ago. But it
I
was
think
like
they
a
were
tweet.
joking though.
You think
It
they were
seemed
joking?
pretty
Yeah.
serious. It seemed pretty real.
That kind of.
I think they were.
There was a
joking.
picture of them like kissing.
Yeah. If you go to
Of course, if you want to carry it out,
Gardad,
don't be kiss my cousin.
GRRR.
There was brother and sister.
I know. I'm trying to get that.
Yeah, see, that's why we're
Shout
talking
out.
over you.
I know. Fuck y'all
Yeah,
niggas.
yeah.
What would they
Anyways,
say? Okay.
So, is there any other situations that y'all think it should be acceptable?
I mean, you
For
got the
abortion?
pregnant seat. What if you're sitting on the toilet seat and got pregnant?
That doesn't happen.
It's happened. I seen it on house. I seen it on house.
He said that's happened. I see
I
it.
seen it on
You are
house.
like that ray of sunshine in the morning that I just don't want to wake me up in the morning right now.
It's happened.
That's love.
Thank you.
look, I mean,
So, no other situations.
well, I
That's
mean,
it, huh?
no other situations to where
As far
like,
as this acceptable.
Well,
Was
teenage
she-
pregnancies. Some teenage pregnancies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's-
like kids. What do you say?
oh, okay. So,
14?
like, what about like a
13-year-old?
What about like like a 15? Who's 15-year-olds are fucking stupid,
I
but
know a
then
girl
like
that had
a
15.
30-year-old talks them into
oh, that's
Keeping it?
disgusting.
Yeah.
no,
Well, that's
just having
statutory
been
rape.
pregnant.
But that's statutory rape.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, that's still right.
Yeah.
All right. What about a
What if you're ugly?
16-year-old?
But what if she wants to keep it?
What if a 16-year-old fucked a 15-year-old
A 16-year-old.
and they had a baby?
Okay, so they're two teenagers. and they had a
15-year-old,
kid.
15-year-old. They both fucked. They had babies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's put a
definitely.
younger 14 because I know a girl that had a baby at 15.
So, is there an age limit on this pro-choice, pro-life stuff?
I don't know. No, if you're
You know
under
what?
18, then it's your parents because they're going to be the ones having to take care
You
of
know
that
what?
kid. So
I
then if
think,
they want you to
sorry.
abort it, whatever.
I think a way to regulate that shit is put a price on that shit. So if they're 15, 16, they just make stupid ass decisions, make that shit expensive as fuck.
I got a question.
Abortions are
It
expensive.
is already
They're
expensive.
really
It is.
Make it
expensive.
double
No, fuck
expensive.
that. Having a kid is that's
way more
that's
expensive.
That's more expensive.
That's way more expensive.
Your
Yo,
time is
what-
gone.
All right,
Think
then
about the
abortion's
parents.
cheap.
Think about like the parents' right, and they choose whatever. I was watching Grey's Anatomy again, but there was a religious kind of thing about it where this kid was sick. They knew what was wrong with him. They knew how to fix him, and the kid got to the hospital on his own. But his parents don't take out of like
They don't
hospital
do
care
hospitals.
for like the religion. I don't know what the fuck they were.
I've seen that shit.
Right? So, and this kid comes back twice. Like the first time the parents get him like, yo, you can't do this. You can't work on my kid. You didn't sign it. I didn't sign anything. Do you agree with that? Religion wise?
I don't, but
Like, is
that's
their parents'
just the
choice?
fucked up part about
That's
it. Like
great.
you can't do anything about it. You can't,
Like, yeah.
you can't do nothing about
Like
it.
in their religion, they believe that he fucks with modern medicine, he's going to hell. Now think of that belief. Think, just
You
try
want
to,
some holistic?
like, what would you do?
I don't know.
What would you do as a doctor? Would you take care of the kid?
As a that's
The
basically
kid's about to die right now and then.
that's kind of like the elderly saying, "Pull the plug on me, I want to die." Sort of. It's around.
I would argue, but there are some, and not unfortunately, but there are some families who specifically seek like religious doctors to care for their kids. So like that religious doctor would be like, no, I'm not helping you, which is, I mean, it's sad, but like, I don't remember. I think there was another episode of Grey's like, he needed some sort of organ or whatever, and they wanted to take something from a pig or
They couldn't do
something.
it.
Like,
I
yeah,
remember that one.
and they couldn't, and it was literally going to save this
That's
person's
crazy.
life. And they're like, nope, not in our religion. Nope, you can't put the swine
Okay,
in it.
can I ask you guys a question
yeah.
though?
I had a quick one too.
Go ahead. This because mine might be a little longer, so go ahead.
What if a surrogate wants to have an abortion?
Ooh, what?
You
what?
can't
Wait,
do that.
what?
Well, no. If she's
What do you mean you
pregnant,
can't do
she's
that?
pregnant with the kid already. Let's say she agreed to be a surrogate and then she got pregnant
Right
and
there.
she's like,
Have
oh
an
shit, I don't
abortion.
want to have
That's
this.
a
Like, an
lawsuit.
agreement.
That's just a lawsuit.
Yeah,
That's a
that-
lawsuit?
That's
Okay.
a
lawsuit.
Yeah, it's a lawsuit.
She's gonna
I never
lose.
knew
You're
that.
specifically signing paperwork stating
Y'all
like
are about signing forms. That's a form.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, literally, like
That's a
you're
form.
literally signing like you have to carry the child full term. I don't know if there's other discrepancies, like
Well, she
maybe
gets
they made
sick.
an agreement. Yeah, maybe they made an agreement with the parents, like what if something happens to my health? Are you gonna let me die for your child? That's up. You know what I mean? That's
There's probably a
She's
lot of
not allowed to
gray
get an
areas.
yeah.
in
There
that.
are a lot of great. That's why
Okay.
there's so many lawyers involved and everything, and that's why when you find surrogates too, you do all these like
You gotta
health
check.
evaluations,
I mean, you gotta
mental
see
evaluations.
their
yeah.
genetics.
Have a surrogate.
You know what?
You
If
said
it
you
was
don't
your
want to
only
have
option.
I could.
Eventually.
Well, yeah, that would just be more for me respecting my wife. Even if she wants to do it, I don't think I would want to do it with her.
I'd rather adopt. Is that what you, or you'd rather adopt? Excuse me.
You wouldn't want to have kids.
I
at
wanna
all.
adopt.
No, I wouldn't want to have kids.
Kids. You're not gonna have kids if you can't.
I'd
make it.
adopt if that
I'd
were
adopt.
the case.
I'll
And the
adopt.
kids that's gonna be,
I
I'm gonna
low-key-
be
I
feeding and
low-key
loving.
would
They
kinda-
gotta be mine, man.
But
I want
It
to
would
adopt.
be yours.
okay, so the
They gotta
question.
come out my nuts.
It would.
What adoption kids is gonna come out of my
Oh,
nuts?
I thought we were still talking about
Oh.
surrogacy.
The question I wanted to ask though, this is
He said, "What adoption age is coming out my nuts?"
the question I wanted to ask. It might be a little personal, but I know we all said for the most part we're pro-choice. I'm leaving myself out of that, but could you actually? Oh, see, it's a little different because we're all more so a little bit established. But could you go
I'm
through
fucked up,
with
Alpha.
having?
I don't know what you're
I
talking
would have
about.
had an abortion
If you got pregnant early.
if I was pregnant before I was 24.
Okay.
I would
I'm only
agree.
25.
I would agree,
You
but
would have had an abortion?
Yes.
I
Okay.
agree, but I don't think it's
Damn.
fair for you to ask that because I honestly think it's a game time decision. I swear
Well,
to God,
It is a
until
definitely
you're
GTD.
actually
I mean, I don't know.
pregnant-
That's why I asked the
Yeah,
question.
no, I
yeah.
swear
I
to God.
agree,
It's
Sumie.
GTD.
until you're actually pregnant, because there's plenty of
I
women
agree.
that say, "Oh, I'm going to be a virgin until I'm this age." Until you're put in that situation where you're
And then
in a
I'm there,
bedroom
like, yeah.
with.
I guess I would
That
say
That's
sounds-
the thing.
that's so
I truly
creepy.
don't know. I like 100%
I would
don't
consider it.
know. Yeah.
I would have considered it.
Okay.
I feel
But
like
the
Well,
choice
the only
would
reason
come
I
down
asked that
to-
is because I've heard women say, "Yeah, I would get an abortion at that time period," but then I'm like, I don't know if you actually were to get pregnant and then go through that whole process. I don't know if you're going
I think
through
majority
it.
of them back out.
A lot
A
of
lot-
them.
A
Back.
lot
most
of them do, but that's why I'm
people-
saying
yeah.
it's so hard for me to say 100% yes or 100% no because
Oh, I wasn't
you're-
saying
It is a
I
game.
didn't want a
Yeah.
definitive answer.
It is a game time.
I was just saying
decision.
if just
It
hypothetical.
would have been an
'Cause
option.
you
It would
can
be on
talk
the
all that
table.
shit
It would be
until
on the
come down
table.
to it.
Yeah.
I feel like that's why I said before. I feel like everybody has that quick moment. Like, are we keeping? All right, let's.
But I will say that for me now, it would not be on the table.
Like, okay, so you couldn't even fathom it,
Even if
or
it
I'm
was
not
an
saying it would
accident?
like
Even if it was an accident.
no. And here's
depending
why.
on the guy.
No.
Okay.
But here's
Right.
why, because when I'm 20, like obviously if you go through having an abortion, there's a lot of concerns and you may struggle having kids later in life. But at 20, to me, that's less scary than if I'm 25, which by the time I had a baby, I'd be 26. I only have a small window left to have a kid.
Okay.
What is this?
You know what I
window?
mean? So
I
if
didn't know
I
what
have
that
an
is.
abortion now,
What is this?
Is the bounce back
Every
quick?
window
You're-
is better.
Are you
Every
saying
window
that
is-
the bounce back is quicker at 20 than
right.
it is at?
Exactly.
Okay.
And I
Bounce
also
back as in
I don't
what?
As
know
in,
where my life
she
was
has
going
less
to be in
time.
10 years versus 4.
Like women have a biological clock.
Yeah,
But
she-
That's
bounce
what they-
back as in what though?
As in like
You want to have another one?
If you have an abortion,
If she was ready to have a child,
like if having an abortion this late in life versus 5 years ago.
I thought it was Big Sean. I think I took a L and I finna bounce
Okay.
back.
and there that goes.
that was a horrible place to
Wait a
insert.
minute, I'm trying to wrap my head around that. So you're saying having a you would want to have a baby now because of the bounce back would be easier?
No.
No, the abortion.
I'm saying when
having
I
an
was,
abortion at 20, you was thinking like I'll be
would
good
have
by
had
25.
I would have put it on the table at 20. I would not put it on the table at 25.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I think that comes with a maturity level.
But I also, again, it goes back to I'm more financially stable. I'm more mature. Have more resources and am able to.
I think the greater point I'm trying to make is that this is why not only do you need to talk to your kids, but you need to push contraceptives. So people don't even get in that position to
We
have
need
to
to be
make that
pushing
decision.
abstinence.
I also
I don't-
think
I don't
this is
even
why
necessarily
it
know
should
that.
be pro-choice.
You fucking tomorrow. Get the
I'm
fuck
sorry,
out
go
of
ahead.
No,
here.
I also think this is why it should be pro-choice. I mean, I honestly, truly think it should be.
Okay, so the reason I said there's more it's a lot easier to make the argument for pro-life, and I'm only saying that. I'm kind of more so on your guys' side. I'm only saying that is
not sounding like an alpha.
You're lying.
No. I'm trying to be consistent here. It is easier to make the pro-life argument because the science isn't in. So it's easier to make the safe choice. The safe choice is to say, all right, just have the child.
But I feel like
because of the fact that the science isn't in yet.
But that's a perspective thing. Some people might think the safe choice is let's not have it.
Yeah. Well, I'm just talking strictly because of the scientific. There's not enough.
But I think
science
aside, religion aside, like if it's pro-choice, that means if you're against it, don't have one.
Sure. Well,
if you're not, have one.
And this is what it comes down to. If there is a higher being, that's between the higher being and that particular individual.
Then let it be that.
Yeah, sure.
Don't put politics in it.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm putting that out.
Do you believe that, Alpha?
I don't believe in a higher being. So
I also think though, like we didn't really like.
That's why I'm saying this is obsolete to me.
Politics are obviously a huge part of this entire issue. That's why we're having this conversation. But what I don't think that we really talked about as much is that, like, we kept talking about like it should be the men's choice. It shouldn't be the men's choice. Blah 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 blah.
I think we should have a say.
Right, but we didn't talk about how the governing people making these decisions are mostly male.
Sure. So whose fault is that, though?
Curtis.
Because I like that point. I love that. I actually love that point.
I was trying to.
More women should run.
I agree.
So then, like, we should encourage more women to run, and then we should vote for more women so they can make these decisions. But then
we need to get the old white men out.
We've been saying that for 6 years.
Yeah.
That's not
but they're
happening.
leaving. No,
they're not going anywhere.
Sure,
we're
they're leaving.
We're coming up.
Yeah. Hey, every generation since the 1960s has said that.
I'm changing shit.
And they're
Alpha.
still there.
Sure.
Big
Since
dick
the
in town.
1960s.
We'll see
Big
20
dick
years
is
from
in
now.
town,
These people
Alpha.
stay. All right, Neil Gorsuch.
We got
just
optimists, we got
No.
pessimists.
Neil
We got
Gorsuch
them.
got
It's
appointed
all
to
right.
the Supreme Court. He's a very pro-life person. He's only 48. He's going to be there for the next 40 years.
Yeah.
All right, so when
Unless you know somebody.
Don't be saying
he
that
does.
shit on here.
When
unless
Ruth Gator Ginsburg is on the court right now.
FBI come and knock on his
All
door.
right, Ruth Gator Ginsburg is on the court right now. She's 80 something. If she drops out, I hope she doesn't die. But if she croaks, let's just say hypothetically she dies. She's in her late 80s. So if she ends up passing, Donald Trump's in office. He's going to appoint another conservative judge who's younger, who's going to be on the Supreme Court for the next 40 years.
Exactly.
That's why I'm saying, yo, you guys are saying, well, we're going to be the change. Not really.
In this current
Yeah,
situation.
so we're
y'all.
I don't know about Alpha, man. He's a Debbie Downer.
Yeah, we're fucked for the next.
We need to get you in there. Well,
40 years.
Can you run and
No.
change the shit, man?
I was snorting cocaine like 2
We're not editing that shit.
I don't care.
Also, you need to be likable to the people.
Yeah, gotta be nice.
That's crazy.
Ashley, what marker is that? Edit that. No, hold on, no, for real.
Edit what? Edit what? What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
You gonna run for
It
politics?
was all a joke. It was all a joke.
Rewind it now. You better shut up.
These are all jokes, by the way.
These are all jokes.
Yeah, jokes.
Yo, this last shit I said was a joke.
Dead ass. I was joking. Don't take that serious.
All right, so the real question comes
Allegedly.
down.
This is all alleged.
Cassie, should it be legal?
Dun dun dun. No,
No.
come on, we can't say that. No,
What should be
She
legal?
knows that.
Abortion?
She knows this shit.
Oh, well, I mean, we can go around. Let's just do it.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
Yeah, let's go around.
Okay, fuck it.
Yes.
Yes, up to a certain trimester.
Third trimester.
Yeah, no, there has to be a time limit. You can't just be 6 months.
Can we talk
7
about
months.
how inhumane the third? No.
No, because
you
that's
know what?
brutal. No, I say
So we're
yes,
not gonna
but there
talk about
has
the
to
catheter
be.
again. You know what?
Everything has
I'm
to
gonna
be.
say yes.
Jesus.
I'm gonna say yes, and I'm gonna say yes 100%. And I'm gonna say the
I'm
further
on Driss's
along,
side.
I'm gonna say the further along trimester you are, maybe you have to pay fucking that much more because you're
$3,000.
ending a fucking life. There should be some punishment.
That's
towards
kind of
that.
weird.
But is
That
money-
means you're
does
putting
the
money on a
money
life.
matter?
Yeah, I wouldn't put
That's
money.
kinda
I would
weird.
just
See,
honestly make
all
it
right,
illegal
well,
at that point.
I'm on your side.
There
Driss.
should be some
I
sort
feel
of
you, though.
punishment towards that.
Yeah,
then.
it should just be
maybe
illegal
not
at
money
some
then.
It should be illegal. I'm with
Jail
Sumie.
time? I
don't
I'm on
think
Sumie.
Whoa,
Sumie
should you
can't.
Jail
get
time
jail
for
time?
what?
No, you
Oh,
shouldn't
wait a
get
minute.
jail
What
time.
about
For
this?
third-
Because who would the jail time go towards
Abortion.
then?
Or two.
If it was jail time, if there was jail time,
mom.
source, no. Because what if it was the
The
dad
mom and the doctor.
and the dad? Then
What you mean? The dad?
If
ain't
the
do
dad
shit?
is accepting to have the
yeah, no.
The dad doesn't have to accept or not.
ass.
But wait, why?
Hold on, why the dad?
This is all about accountability until
But
it
what
comes
if
to
the
the
dad?
dad.
But if the woman has to, what if the dad ain't there? I'm saying.
But we're saying, what if he is?
Oh, I didn't know that y'all was. He was
We're holding
solidly
you
in
accountable
there.
for your
I
penis
didn't know he was
ejaculating.
solidly in
Oh,
there.
shit.
Oh god.
No, we're saying if collectively, I think it should be illegal if after a certain point of the pregnancy.
There's some people
terminating a pregnancy and murder are two different things.
There's some people out there like who are on the pro-choice side who don't care what trimester it is. It's you can get an abortion up until she gets. Yeah, that to me that's wild.
Yeah.
Hillary Clinton actually would co-sign that.
Quick
You know
random
what?
question.
I would co-sign that to an extent.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
If a woman is
it's
murdered,
fucked, but
if a woman is murdered and she's pregnant,
And the baby survives?
no,
Oh.
and she's pregnant, is that 2 counts of murder?
Yeah, that's double murder.
It is.
Yeah.
At what at what time?
Because it's a life.
ooh,
Yeah.
If it's only 6
Oh.
weeks.
Well, that's the pro-life argument then, I guess.
Yeah.
Because they would say,
That'd probably like save a case.
That
Like,
happened-
hold on.
So are you
That's-
saying like
what's
are
the
they
life?
charged as double homicide
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
if the mother
it
is
sales or is it
12
third
weeks
trimester?
Yeah, if she's 12 weeks pregnant, which is still the first.
you know what's hey, you know what's
I better
you know
get
what's
one
crazy?
homicide.
You guys heard about Ray Caruth, right?
Yeah, of course.
He stabbed or did he murdered his pregnant wife, but she was able to have the kid. The kid was able to be born. I think the kid has some mental
Right, but what
issues
was he
because of
charged
that.
for? Double
I don't know.
attempt homicide?
I believe it was double murder.
Damn. And she was how
Or-
long?
Huh?
Probably.
She was super
Double
far
attempt.
along. I mean, they were able to give the baby was
Oh,
able
yeah,
to
that
survive.
counts.
So.
Right, so I'm
Well,
saying,
I
but what
guess that's
Curtis
the
said,
gray
like,
area.
Yeah, I don't know.
let's say somebody shot a mother who is okay, so
6 weeks pregnant.
Yeah, that's half of your first trimester. Is that double homicide?
I don't know. It's
That is a good. That's
That's a good one.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So
how
if-
about you not just kill the pregnant lady?
So, well, we were shit. We were going around. So everybody here,
I think it's legal. I'm on Driss's side 100%.
legal.
I mean, it sounds ruthless.
It sounds
Even
really
that
ruthless.
trimester stuff, it still should be legal.
I just think there should be-
Oh, no
should
matter
be
what
more of a-
trimester. Oh no, I
To an
can't
extent,
co-sign
yeah.
the third one. No,
I
I can't.
I just think that there
I don't
should be
even think-
some. There
I'm
should
so-
be some. There should be a
A certain type of penalty. I agree.
punishment penalty, or
I'm gonna
something.
be honest with you. Anything
agree.
after the first, I think is actually inhumane.
But the thing is, though, people are going to do it
Personally.
regardless, whether they go to a back alley
No,
doctor. Yeah.
no, you're right.
No,
you're
if
right.
you put a penalty to it, people gonna be like, all right, I'm just gonna have the baby.
Oh, they
then
make it
throw
harsh
into the-
enough. It depends.
No, they're gonna be like,
No,
I'm
then they're
have
gonna
it.
give it up for or go through the
But
right.
everyone
dump
says
the baby.
adoption,
They
but
gonna dump
adoption
it.
is not an easy process.
No,
They're
it's
gonna
not.
It's
dump the
not.
baby.
So like it's not like I've
adoption
got to
sucks.
keep the baby and give it up for adoption.
They
Like
gotta-
it's expensive.
they'll
it's
dump the baby.
grueling. It's difficult. People
Listen,
don't want to take your baby.
ultimately,
like,
it's
They'll
what I
dump the baby. That's
ultimately
and
what
that's
I-
what I agree with you.
Trash
to wrap.
cans.
Hey, to get it to wrap this up.
cans.
though,
Trash cans,
Let's
no,
not.
don't
Let's not.
Firehouse stoops.
Let's.
trash cans, dog.
No more trash can talk.
That's what they would do, dog.
I know they would. That's just
We can't go to that dark
crazy.
place.
yeah. When it comes to abortion, it should be legal, in my opinion, for that reason, though. So these girls aren't going out and throwing babies away or like taking matters
It
into
should
their
be
own
legal.
hand.
Or leaving them on random niggas' doorsteps.
Yeah, I mean, sure, like all
Why
of
do you
that.
say that like it happened to you?
I just said it because.
Like, remember that one time?
I went out and
Sumie
seen the
looks
baby. on
concerned.
my doorstep.
What if though? Like, all right, what if it's
That's
like?
what I'm
hey,
saying,
man.
dog.
What if you don't wake up
That's what I'm
tomorrow
saying,
morning?
yo. We should make
Hey.
Question
we should make a
A
skit
skit?
of 4 guys and a baby. That's why I tried to ask who had a baby. That'd be funny.
They had
No,
a
we're not
show
going to
about
use
that.
You
a
tried to
random
ask who
person's
had a
name
baby.
for
What do
that.
you mean?
And 4 black
So what's
people
your
to be in,
opinion?
that'd be
So
nice.
Bash,
which
give
one
your
of you has a
opinion.
baby?
I'm with whatever the woman wants, bro. I'm pro-choice.
So with that-
pro-choice.
so that
I'm
means you're
so
looking-
tired of this nigga with
That's
this
just
fucking
politically correct, man. Stop with this
shit.
What-
Nigga, if you don't get the
yeah,
fuck
bro.
out of
Stop
here,
with that shit.
bro, this nigga was
Listen,
calling
listen,
you.
whoa.
Hey.
Hold on, y'all coming at my neck right now. Hold
Bashir
on,
said
calm down.
pro-choice. He
Hold
said
on, calm down.
That's your
pro-choice,
whatever
but
woman
you
wants.
Nah, listen.
You can read pro-choice.
Y'all saying, even y'all two, first of all, not even Sumie or Alpha and them. I'm talking about you, Curtis, and Driss.
Hi, how you doing?
When I'm saying it's a woman's choice, you're saying that.
Yeah.
And you're saying, I don't care how big the baby is. It's the woman's choice. So why you getting mad at me when I
Yeah,
say
I was about
whatever
to
the
say
woman
that. You're
wants?
low-key on our
Like,
side.
You just
But he
sounded-
does this
yo.
in a lot.
Yo, he does.
Yeah, you're
And
trying
bro,
to be super.
He goes,
You trying to be
women,
super.
you shit on men, bruh.
Bashir, you
You know
do
what?
you.
I
You
don't
do
know.
you.
I am me. They're
At
mad
the
at
end
me
of
for
the day,
being
you're
me.
gonna get
Bashir-
more ass than both of them
Bashir,
combined.
Bashir,
You're fine.
Bashir, you're
That
not.
doesn't work.
Bashir,
Don't
wait
listen
for being
to
a
her.
I don't even know what
No.
she's talking about. I don't even, a cuck? You call me a cuck, nigga? Well, check yourself, dog. What the fuck? Being a cuck. Nah, honestly, I'm pro-choice. I'm saying like whatever. It's her choice, literally, but I'm with them having abortions when they want it.
Sure,
I didn't
I'm
like
telling
how-
you, I don't care enough.
I didn't like how
about
PC
it,
you
dude.
said it though.
Yeah, I was just like, holy shit. No, you're not gonna get pussy for like.
I'm not trying to get pussy from what I'm saying.
No.
though.
You can get
Y'all
it.
getting
You can
mad
get
at
it
me.
without being.
So PC.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to get pussy off of these words right now.
You shouldn't. You can get it
I had
regardless.
pussy already
He's
without
getting
me
I know,
saying
that's what I'm
pussy
saying.
with
I know, that's what I'm saying. Hey, we don't
So-
care. Yeah.
We appreciate you.
I hate you guys.
Anybody have any more?
Maybe we shouldn't be talking about getting pussy and abortion in the same
Yeah.
podcast.
I mean, he just said some shit. I was like, God, this nigga's going wild now, bro.
Yo, how am I wild when I said 4 words? I was like, yo.
Because you're a lot
Y'all
more.
bugging.
You say a
Y'all
lot more
bugging.
foul shit than that.
So I can't say something like polite?
you
That wasn't even
can.
polite. That was
Bro,
just what I
he
said.
said
Can I say
between
something that was
Alpha and
calm?
Bash.
It's not. But you
Anyways.
started it.
Lord,
I
bro.
know.
Curtis started it. Curtis started it.
Don't turn your back on me.
Guys, I'm gonna bring us back.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Curtis, sign us off.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys. Sorry. No, not sorry.
That was
I'm
funny.
glad that this got a little
We still ended
touchy,
on a
touchy
funny
subject,
note.
and we appreciate y'all feedback and tell us what y'all think and all that good stuff. But y'all have a very blessed week. We want to shout out Cassie, our very special
Thank
guest.
you.
For jumping
Great
in.
insight.
Special, but not so special because she's
Happy to
always
be
on
here.
there. She's here. She's
I'm
always
here every
present.
week.
Hey,
I
we're
just
coming
don't
back
say
with
anything.
more, controversial topics. We don't want them to be. We want to flush out ideas. But
We like to fight.
Next
I mean,
week,
controversial and just meaty.
yeah.
Pause. Super. And next week we discuss North Korea. I'm just joking.
All right, guys, y'all have a blessed week.